Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery is joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Pretty loaded up here, kids, for you on a nice little Tuesday. Adam Jardy going to join us at 9:45 on the Buckeye basketball team. Nice win last night over Iowa. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes from now. We'll hit you with the real truth coming up at 10 o'clock. 10:30, Uncle Dom will stop by. We will blitz the NFL coming up at 11 o'clock. Do you remember specifically, fellas, when you made a poor hair choice as a kid, where it was, looking back, you said, God, what was I thinking?
I was buzzed all through high school.
Straight buzz.
Straight buzz.
That's a choice, Reese.
Like a 1 or a 2 guard.
All the way?
All the way.
Like you were in stripes.
Like I think I started maybe 7th or 8th grade and rocked it actually clear into college.
Not even like a little low taper fade. Not even that. Just a number one all over.
And usually it was a buddy.
God.
That was doing it. Or me.
God forbid.
Yeah. Imagine that, right?
Of course.
There was a time in elementary school, Bo, I don't know if you remember this style. I'm sure Reese doesn't, but they called it a Princeton, where you were
Describe it.
You were pretty much buzzed, but you had a little bit of like hair in the front, like bangs almost. And that was like, I don't know if that was my choice or not. And then I rocked the flat top for a lot of the end of elementary school into middle school era.
You could rock a flat top. The barber, my guess is the same barber every time. It was my grandfather. I've never paid for a haircut in my life. My grandfather did it, and then by the time he passed away, I didn't have enough to really style anymore, so it was do it yourself. It's so funny you say that. I hadn't even thought about this. What was it about our grandparents are probably similar in age, Bake. My grandpa cut all of the grandkids' hair when we were little. Like, he owned a farm ranch. He would butcher, kind of for fun on the side. We had a butcher shed that we would do that in for some of the neighbors if they'd go hunting or whatever. So you'd see that in there. But then also he was also qualified to like just cut kids' hair. Like you'd go in there, you get on the stool, he'd have the apron, he'd have all this stuff, and he would cut kids. Like that was normal. Like I guess you stormed the beaches of Normandy. He didn't exactly storm, but he was in France during World War II. That makes you qualified to be able to cut hair too. Who's going to tell you no? I hadn't thought about that in years. Grandpa Ralph, God bless him, cut it all up. I remember specifically the hairdo. It probably would have been 5th, 6th grade. It would have been the height of hairband, and the closest that I could get to that was the spike mullet. And I had a pretty epic one, long in the back, spiked on top. And then because Michael Jackson was kind of peak of his powers then, I wanted that little curly thing down the forehead. So it was all spiked up, little curl down the middle, and then a lot of party at the back, like a ton of it. I remember even at one point my aunt giving me an Ogilvy home perm like on the back of it because I wanted it to flop like Yarmir Yarger. Like I wanted that curly flop back there. So I remember that vividly. I also remember the moment when it was like, okay, this ain't it anymore. I want to say it was probably 7th grade. I saw all the high school guys had this hair ahead of me, and we were a small school, so all of us were in the same building. It was a bigger building, but all of the classes, K through 12, was all in the same building. So you'd run into like high school kids in the hall, and one of them decided to cut it, and it was like, oh, we can all do it. And then it was done. And then from then on, it was pretty much a standard operation hairdo for a long time. I say all of this because the boys right now, in NBC's grade, and it's kind of teetering into Beamsy's grade, they're in this thing where they want this incredible amount of hair in the front of their head, and then they want it to go straight out. Kind of like Drew Aller, like that look that Aller has. That's kind of what they're going for. And they look like the rear end of a porcupine, honestly. It's what it looks like. And the amount of effort it takes to get it to do this, and you see them all doing this, like even last night at the basketball game, like they push it up and then they pull it out like this. And I keep waiting for it to stop. I keep waiting for it. Like I'll subtly say like, hey, do you see, I don't even know like who's someone that they would emulate now. I don't know who that would be, like Tom Holland or some like one of those guys. You see, like Spider-Man don't wear his hair like that, man. And I'll try to like look at Arch Manning, but then they always come back to Drew Aller. Like Drew Aller looks like that, and he's from Ohio, and so maybe there's some parallels there. But they're like, "See, Dad, somebody's wearing it." I'm like, "This has got to stop." So I'm hopeful. We're midway through 7th grade, and they're all doing it. It's just exhausting. The 8th graders have it, but then I look at some of the high schoolers; they don't.
So I wondered with that kind of hairstyle, because Drew's reaching 20, if Father Time has come for his hairline. Because that's what I see with a lot of guys in their 20s and 30s. Yeah. Is there, especially like Logan Paul.
Oh, that's probably that's a lot of it. That's that look.
So it's the Pauls, but they're doing it, and you can look at, pictures or videos on whatever you want to, that they're using it to cover up for Father Time, who's reaping the hairline.
Aren't they at a... Oh, he does. Yeah, that's where...
That's where I'm seeing that as, and I think they emulate the look until... I don't know.
Like reharvesting?
Yeah, I don't know.
All those guys are going to be reharvesting, right? Like there's no reason.
To the Turkish hairlines.
Yeah, get one of those in there.
Bo, to your point, I talked about going to my my buddy's kids' freshman basketball game the other night. And last year in 8th grade, all of those kids and all of that team had that hairstyle you're talking about with your boys. And crazy. I don't think any of them had that at the freshman game. So I don't know what the difference is between middle school and high school, but there is definitely something, because all of those kids' hair were in their face last year where they were playing, and this year, not the case.
Do the high schoolers' hair, does it look like it's any time's been taken on it? Because I feel like that could be the case where in middle school, then when you get to high school, you feel like spending 0 minutes on your hair a day.
To your point, there's no question there's a minimalist view to high school. This, from what I can tell, the standard operating outfit is Ugg slippers, baggy sweats, a hoodie. That's pretty much, anytime I see a high schooler, that's what they're rocking. Is that sometimes if it's too snowy or wet, they'll rock a New Balance, but it's always sweats and hoodies. And rinse and repeat. Where I went, like some college I visited on a hoodie, and then that's the outfit. So maybe it stopped. Maybe they go minimalist. I don't know. There's not a whole maximalist to this. Watching him do it today, it was basically like just get out, kind of towel dry it, and then just mess it and push it all forward. That's where they're at. So it's got to stop. Maybe it is. Maybe you hit it big. Maybe it's freshman year when they wake up a little bit to it. But it's good. I told him, I'm like, and I actually showed him a picture of me looking absurd. I'm like, dude, you're going to look back and go, this is what I did. I made these choices.
Bo, I do remember I was probably 23 or 24, and I realized, I don't have much more time with hair on this earth. So I grew my hair the longest it had ever been. I was like, if this is my last go-round, I'm going to see how long I can get this and what it looks like. And I remember my grandmother on my dad's side was not very happy about that. And it was about the time that Bobby and AJ and Schlegs were seniors, and they had all grown their hair long. And she was like, are you doing this because of those Buckeye players? And I was like, no. I just know this is the last time I ever have to grow hair, so I'm going to see how long that we can get this.
I did that my freshman year of college. I grew it out from middle of summer until first time I was home was Thanksgiving, and I had it was pretty much like, chin length, jawline length, a little longer maybe all the way around, kind of like Eddie Vedder kind of thing I thought I was going for. Probably didn't execute it very well. And I sat home. First time my dad saw me, I set an earring in, which that was a choice that everybody around my age made at that time. And he just sat down at the dinner table and goes, I didn't know I had a blanket daughter. And he walked out. Oh, that went well. That went about as well as I would have hoped. But I was honestly probably looking for that reaction, is probably a little bit of that. The college football playoff is learning from nothing, quite honestly. We have a date for an upcoming national championship game. We'll share that with you. Here's a hint. It is not a whole lot of thought given to it. The Buckeye basketball team, impressive last night. You hear from Coach Diebler, Bruce Thornton, as well as they've now won 2 in a row. What can it possibly mean going forward? We're off and running on a Tuesday edition, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey friends, Beamer here. And 7 weeks ago, I decided to make a change. And now I'm down 37 pounds. Only 7 weeks to drop what probably took 5 years to put on. What's more wild is how easy it was, all thanks to Awaken 180. I'm chasing Willie around like it's nothing, throwing him up in the air, running after the dog, all kinds of good things. Something that used to leave me gassed. And you know what? If you're overweight, I'm sure that you can relate. Late nights, early mornings, football playoffs, none of it feels like it's slowing me down anymore. And those cravings that always got in my way, gone. Poof. What I thought would be a struggle has become second nature. The other guys here at The Fan were right. Awaken 180 gives results. And more importantly, the fast results we need to keep on going. My coach, Natalie, is the health guru. She helps me adjust to fit my crazy schedule from what to eat to when to eat. No meds, no gimmicks. Just a plan straight up that works and can work for anyone. If you want control, take control with Awaken 180. It is the choice to make. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Get ready for the day with 10 TV News This Morning.
Our 10 weather impact forecast is easy to understand and focus on when, where, and how the weather will impact you.
Time saver traffic, getting you to work on time.
Plus, the latest breaking news from overnight and what's trending right now.
We're always looking to keep you and your family safe, to save you money and keep you healthy.
This is Morning News on your time. It's time for 10 TV News This Morning. Live and streaming on 10 TV Plus.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, we're going to be looking at a mostly cloudy sky, high of 39, 32 for the nighttime low tonight under mostly cloudy skies. Mostly cloudy again on Wednesday with a high of 40. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Buckeye basketball team impressive last night. 82-65 winners over Iowa. Back-to-back wins now for Ohio State. They one of those ones where very, very kind of back and forth first half and then exploded into the second. It's pretty remarkable what they've had to do in terms of the rotation. Obviously, it's very short now. Michi's been gone for a very, very long time, and you're talking about 4 guys getting over 30 minutes and then everybody else kind of sharing the rest. But it's a thin bench. They got consistent. They shot the ball well from 2. 3 is always an adventure for this team. They ended up making 8 of them in the game. The turnover margin right at 11, the assists to 15. So that's kind of the things we look at with this team in terms of kind of seeing what they are at their best. And I was listening to Casey Jacobson on the postgame. He's like, look, this team can beat anybody. And the opposite of that is they can lose to everybody. That's kind of college basketball and where we are in 2024, 2025. Defensively, though, they are picking it up, and Jake Diebler was quick to give compliment to that last night.
It's something that we've been talking about and working on, every time we're together. And I do feel like we are getting more and more connected. You're starting to see our experience that we're gaining, really on-the-job experience we're gaining, come through with us executing better defensively.
The other part that helps is when you go on a 20-4 run to start the second half of play. That is certainly part of what happened last night. Here's Jake on that.
I think you're seeing an ability from our group as a whole to make adjustments. I want to point out specifically Evan Mahaffey, Sean Stewart, Quez Glover. Those guys, we challenged them to do more, and I thought they were great in the second half. Great. Evan completely flipped the script on his kind of minutes and the impact on winning. I thought he was phenomenal in the second half. I thought Sean Stewart had some big-time plays in the second half, and Quez, I like the looks Quez got from 3. I thought he managed the game well when he was in there outside of maybe, 1 or 2 possessions against the press. So that's part of it. I think guys have responded to being led by our upperclassmen and then also accepting challenges because of the standard we have for effort, toughness, playing with urgency. We hold guys to that standard, and those guys responded. So I think give them credit kind of starts there. But we've shown an ability to make adjustments when we have some time to sit down and really lock into it on the board and talk through it. I think our staff deserves a ton of credit for that, but certainly our players going out and executing and playing with the urgency necessary.
Talking about 68 minutes from the backcourt of Bruce Thornton and John Mobley. Combined, they end up 5 of 15 from 3. They end up with 10 rebounds, 11 assists, and combined just 4 turnovers and 27 points. Pretty good backcourt output out of the Buckeyes. A big part of that is Junie Mobley and what he's doing as a true freshman. Bruce Thornton weighed in on the impact he's had.
He's playing a lot of high minutes now, so he's getting experience, and the game probably slowing down for him, especially being that back half of the season where things tend to slow down. So he see different reads that he probably didn't see before. He's playing more poise. And it's been really good for us, especially when he can pass, and then teams can sleep on him on defense, then he's going to shoot a wide-open shot. I feel like anytime he shoot, I feel like the whole gym think is going in anyway. So him just keep growing and keep improving, he'll be a nice player.
What standard are we going to hold these guys to the rest of the way? I'm asking. I don't know. They're 12-8 overall. They're 4-5 in the league.
I think it's got to be tournament, right? Like get into the tournament.
Which one?
The NCAA tournament.
The Big Ten's without question. You make the Big Ten tournament. I think you make.
Oh, I'm saying NIT or NCAA. Like, can you get to the NCAA?
I think
4
they
and 5
can.
in the league. You need a run here. You're at Penn State, you're at Illinois, you're Maryland, Nebraska, Washington here, Michigan, Northwestern, UCLA. I mean, that's where you're at. You need to go. They got to win 5 in a row, starting now, to get back into that. You're 4 and 5 in the league. They win 5 in a row. They get to 17-8. They get to 9 and 5 in the league. Okay, now you're talking. The minimum requirement out of this league is going to be. I mean, you got to be more. You got to be above 500. Got to be. You're not getting into the dance under 500. How many teams do we have ranked in the Big Ten? I mean, it ain't many.
No. I think
Michigan State is 7, Purdue is 10. I get Oregon 16, Wisconsin 17. Okay, Illinois is in there. You got 5 ranked teams.
Yeah,
in the league.
I think finish above 500 in conference play and stay. I think the last Joe Lunardi bracketology had Ohio State as one of the first 4 out. I think you just flirt with the bubble.
Their non-conference is going to help them now.
Yeah, that Kentucky win.
Kentucky win's nice. That'll help. Yeah, I mean, they need to go on a little run here. They're playing better defensively. It seems like, and we'll talk to Adam Jardy about this about 20-some minutes or so, but 25 minutes. You know, there was so much distraction in the first month that they had to play under, and now it seems like this feels like this is the team going forward that you're going to see. I don't think you're going to have anybody else returning. Like, this is it. And I think now they kind of have their roles sorted out. And to me, if you go on a little run here, if you should be able to win at Penn State on Thursday. And then Illinois, obviously that's going to be a full day. That's finally a CBS 1 o'clock game, by the way. Finally get one of those. It's been a while since we had one of those. And then Maryland on the 6th. If they could beat Illinois and turn this into a little 5-game winning streak heading into Nebraska on the 9th of February, then you're talking. Then you can start to be in that bubble conversation. You can be worried about, can we make the dance? Can we make a run in the Big Ten? That to me feels like the sweet spot for this team over the course of the next month. Next week, anyway.
The nice thing is the difficult part of the schedule is over. You've got a lot of games here running out the season of teams that are below you in the standings in the Big Ten. So that is a super nice thing for this Buckeye team.
I think Bruce had a really good point about the way Junie sees the floor, the way his game's picked up because it's slowed down for him. I think against that stretch that Baker was talking about, certainly before you get into the month of March, you've got so many winnable opportunities and so many opportunities for Mobley to grow and for this team to grow that why the hell not an NCAA tournament appearance?
Yeah, got to go on a run. I mean, it goes back to, you think of the 3 they lost before this 2-game winning streak. They lost by a total of 5 points, 3 games. One of them in overtime. Oregon by 2, Wisconsin by 2, and Indiana beat them by 1. So you win one of those, and you're there. So, yeah, I mean, they dug themselves a little bit of a hole, and they just got to dig themselves out a little bit. Your beloved Cavs.
Yeah, who was worried about them?
You were all going to panic.
There's no need to panic now. They played some defense last night against the Detroit Pistons.
How about the fact that they play Miami at Miami on Wednesday? How about the fact that Jimmy Butler
was scared,
just saying
reportedly,
I ain't playing. I'm walking out of practice. Pat Riley saying, I'm not trading you. We're just going to suspend you. Like, this is truly ownership standing toe to toe with player and saying, we've compensated you. We expect you to handle things for that compensation, and players saying, nah, Jet, as the kids say, I'm good. And the ownership and Pat Riley saying, no, you're not. I mean, it truly is a standoff. If ownership has the stones for it, and I have no reason, I think this is one of the few ownerships that could actually do this. It's probably how many NBA ownership / front offices / coaching staffs are as stable as Miami who could do this? I think this might be it.
I mean, yeah, the
list
ain't long.
No. To stand up to a
6-time All-Star,
yeah, and just
4-time all-defensive player.
Not having it. Jimmy Butler's, I'm not playing. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to fine you then. And that's the way this is going to go going forward. because we're not trading you. You signed the contract.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. Like before yesterday, I was like, okay, just trade him to Phoenix, get a bunch of firsts, and then he walks out a shoot around, and I'm like, no, bleep this guy.
Well, that's their attitude is that, and that's Pat Riley's is that, and Pat Riley has the gravity to be able to do it. He's won 8 titles, 5 as a player he won 2, but 5 as a coach with the Lakers and another 3 with the Heat as a coach / executive. So, I mean, he's got an ability to do this.
It's just it's going to be wild because so the Heat beat the Magic in double overtime last night. Both those teams flirting with 500. I think the Heat are now a game above 500. But if you're going to go into the trade deadline, which I think is next week in the association, like you can't. If you want to make a run and you want to be serious about contending in the East now or in the next year or so, like Jimmy Butler is not going to be a part of your plans because he's just going to sit at home. At what point are you doing a disservice to the guys that are actually playing by keeping him on his ass in a nice South Beach mansion?
I don't think you can worry about that if you're Riley, though. I think if you're Riley, like you're sending a tone like not here. Now, I don't know that lands.
Yeah,
because they've had cap space for a decade and have been unable to lure a bunch of stars there. I mean, it was always, well, Giannis is going to go play there and Kevin Durant's going to go play there, and then none of that stuff happened. So there is a pushback to Heat culture and all of that stuff. But I think this adds to it. So you're flirting with disaster here for sure. But I respect Riley being like, nah, not happening. Sit tight, bud.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, too. It's crazy to see this happening in that league, especially where the players have ruled for so long, and they get what they want.
That's why Butler thinks he can get away with this.
Into trades and everything. It's amazing. But like you said, this guy could be an asset to you in the fact that he could get you back assets that will help your team. So how long can you keep this going?
I don't know. It's a fascinating story that's happening right now. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, I was going to say, Baker, to answer your question and Bo to dovetail off your point, it's Pat Riley. He can keep it going forever.
Yeah, he's formidable. Ryan Day, my goodness, how a life can change. He found himself on the Tonight Show last night. He was damn good. We'll have some of it for you coming up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Beds are us when dreams sunk in. Beds are us. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH. Beds are us when dreams sunk in. Beds are us.
The New Year's celebration has come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday edition of the program. Ryan Day on The Tonight Show last night. You guys are old enough to remember when these shows were like must-see. TV? Bake certainly was. That was the height of the Letterman-Leno battles.
Absolutely. You wanted to watch that stuff every night to see what Chris Farley was going to do or what band was going to be on.
Yeah, that was it, man. Those huge ones. Reese, you a late-night TV viewer as a kid?
I've never been able to stay up that late.
Never? Just had your little buzz cut and you were in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yep. Oh, earlier than that. It was 9:30.
Good sleep.
Yeah,
Reese has always been disciplined.
Very disciplined.
I wouldn't call it discipline, just my inability to stay up late.
Yeah, I was big. I was big into it. I was a big Letterman guy. Letterman bought a bunch of land near where I grew up, and so that kind of made it even cooler, the idea that he was around. And so I was always a Letterman guy. But these shows were mammoth shows, even a generation previous to us. You're talking about The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and all of that. And I don't know if you ever could explain that to kids, how important that was at a certain moment. We're a long ways from that, but it's still really cool when our guys get to go on there. Ryan Day was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night. This courtesy of The Tonight Show. Here's Ryan Day on If It's Sunk In Yet.
Yesterday we had a huge celebration in the stadium. We had over 45,000 fans there, and that's really when it sunk in because just the hard work and the journey that we went on to get there. This is the first time we've had the 12-team format of the playoffs, and so it was 16 games, and there was ups and downs along the way. But our guys showed resilience, and so to hoist that trophy with everybody there meant a lot. Yeah.
He went on the Tonight Show and he got a Michigan question even on the Tonight Show. Here's how they bounced back for Michigan.
I think that's the story of this team. And I think there's so many people that can learn from this team. We have an unbelievable group of guys that decided to come back and forego going to the NFL. And there was a point at the end of the year where there's nobody who thought we were going to do this. And there's a group of guys that decided they were going to. And it started with a home game against Tennessee. We got some momentum going there. We went out to L.A. in the Rose Bowl and played number 1 Oregon and won that game. And then we went to the Cotton Bowl and one of the most iconic games in Ohio State history. Just an unbelievable play by Jack Sawyer with a sack fumble at the end of the game to win, and then to finish with a national championship trophy. But there was a point there where a lot of people doubted us, and the resilience of these guys to come back and win and finish. I think there's a lot of life lessons to be learned there. And we get caught up in all these things, but really at the end of the day, it's about the lessons these guys are learning, and then for people to watch this team overcome. To me, that's the story of this team.
I think it's important. We talk about that, and Doug and I have talked about that on Fridays about whether they needed, whether the Michigan game was a necessary or not. I don't know specifically if the Michigan game was, but I do think that this team, and he just said it, this team got punched in the mouth, and it could have been, like, let's say they lose to Penn State. Does it have the same impact? I think it might have. I think they just needed to be punched in the mouth, and they did in the most brutal way possible. And that's Ryan Day acknowledging that was a kind of a catalyst for what was happening, that they used that to bunker in, get together, that locker room against the world, and let's go. And they used it to their advantage. It's a tremendous amount of motivation and give a damn and heart and all the things that we've talked about with this team over the last couple of months. But that's your head coach saying it right there, boys.
Yeah, I think it speaks, to the state of the program, the hands that it's in, and that senior class that decided to come back. Because if not all of those guys are in that locker room or on that field after that loss to Michigan, is the team able to be galvanized like that for their head coach? Or are there so many different, factions and fractures that make it untenable to go on the kind of run that they did? But you heard about it from all the players after each of those games, how they're doing it for Ryan Day, and especially after the championship game, how it was everybody was ELE, right? Everybody love everybody. And I think that's much as a credit to the coach as it is to the leadership of the players that made that decision to come back for their senior year.
Certainly was. He had some fun, too. Let's start with the throwing of the headset and the Gatorade bath that follows. Here's Ryan on The Tonight Show from last night.
Well, first off, when you're at the end of the game, you're so close, and you want to see it end. It's a two-score game. You want to see
anything could happen.
That's it. And then all of a sudden, when you realize you won, it's like, get this headset off of me and throw it. I'm lucky I didn't hit somebody in the crowd because there's weight on that too.
Oh my God!
And then I turned around and I forgot about the Gatorade bath because you're not thinking about any of those things. And they surprised me with it, and it was a great feeling. Yeah.
When he threw the replay, when he threw his headset, that's the first thing I'm thinking. Like, how did that not hit somebody in the melon? Like, he was worried about the golf cart girl and severed foot and all of that. He might have had one of his own. If that's because he hurled it. That thing went flying, man. And there is some weight to that thing. Like that That could do a little bit of damage. He's lucky that reached the ground without doing any sort of damage of any of the folks that were in its intended path, or unintended path, I should say. Certainly, one of the really funny incidents that happened now was what happened in the bowels of Mercedes-Benz Stadium on a golf cart. Bob talked about it with the Juice Bringers this morning. There's another kind of angle of it. Will Howard basically acting like all of us, just giggling through all of it, is like watching his dad in the case of Ryan Day, like ahead of him, almost lose part of his foot. Ryan was asked by Jimmy Fallon last night on the Tonight Show about the golf cart incident. Here was how he remembered it.
Well, so again, you're stressed during the game. You finally take a deep breath.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
yes.
we get on the golf cart to go to the press conference, and we are just gunning it through the field. I mean, just dodging around people, and I'm grabbing on like this, and then we took the corner and hit the wall. And if you look back, like, Will Howard's laughing his tail off, and so is Cody Simon, and I'm looking like, you got to be kidding me right now.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how you come right back down to earth like 20 minutes after.
It's like the scene in Austin Powers.
Well, that's what I said. I said we're in an Austin Powers movie right now.
She just did not have the turning radius.
Well, it's one of those incidents in your life where you look back and you're like, man, this is funny now, but gosh, that could have turned out way differently, and it wouldn't have been funny at all.
Did they miss an opportunity not having her drive him out to the set in the golf cart?
Absolutely.
Somewhere down the line, there's a gag to be done with her returning in a golf cart, driving him somewhere.
I don't think that
press
girl
conference,
exists.
whether it's the spring game.
I think she is living in rural Georgia. I think she's in a convent. I think she hightailed out of there as fast as you can go. I think she's gone. You'll never see that girl again. We could have Steph Odie maybe act it out because she was accused of the one driving it. Maybe we'll have Steph act it out with Coach. That would be quite funny. I don't think you'll ever see the driver of that golf cart again. The idea that she just drove it into the wall, looked at it and then went, oh, the hell with it, and just left. Just left. Gone.
Maybe we have her drive Will out on the draft stage in April, or maybe she leads the Buckeyes out of the tunnel next year against Texas at the Shoe.
You're not finding that girl. It's going to have to be Steph. That girl's gone. She's not driving into the golf cart ever. That's over at that point. Turning radius, kids. Always got to know your turning radius. He also had a little fun with the idea of LeBron James coming back to school to play in football. This is Ryan Day from The Tonight Show.
Well, first off, LeBron is a huge fan of Ohio State and has been a great supporter. But that being said, he'd be right in line with the freshmen in the back of the room. We'd have to work his way up.
That's it.
I mean, he doesn't get any special treatment.
No special treatment. Oh. That's a real coach right there. That's a real.
Work his way up.
Be a hell of a Disney movie if LeBron was because now he could do it with NIL.
You're too old, James.
He's never played college sports. He could start a clock of 5 years to play 4, like a 40-year-old LeBron James playing free safety, tight end, defensive end.
That's the thing. I don't know if you put him on the line just because you're a little old in that regard.
I'd put him at tight end and just throw it high.
Coach,
I feel like everything over the middle.
Just streak every play.
Yeah.
Coach, I'm just going to head to the corner of the end zone. You just throw it up high.
Throw it high, baby. He was unbelievable. He was a great high school football player. What did he play through his junior year or sophomore year?
Yeah, I think he was his junior year, a second-team All-State wide receiver for Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's. There wasn't a lot to his game other than just throw it to him. He wasn't in there blocking a ton.
Yeah, same with Gronk.
He didn't have to do much. He's just run straight and throw it high. You got a chance at it. They also had a little fun. The Super Bowl, obviously, in a couple of weeks. He got a Super Bowl prediction out of Coach Day on The Tonight Show last night. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, so my brain tells me the Chiefs, but I'm sitting here right now in front of the Roots. and our quarterback is from Philly, Will Howard.
Yes.
So I'm going with the Eagles.
That's nice. And also, he was on that staff. Wasn't he on the staff with Chip in Philly? Although maybe not all warm feelings from that. But, yeah, there you go. I like that. My brain says Kansas City. All of ours does, Coach. All of our brain says Kansas City on that one. I did see, by the way, speaking of the Super Bowl, the Chiefs will be in white and the Eagles will be in green. I know they won't do it, but if they wore the Kelly greens for this, that would give you the uniform aesthetic you're looking for. That would be a beautiful one. Good job out of Coach Day on The Tonight Show. That's really fun. Happy to share that with you. And I'm just happy for him. He's just a good dude. And all of the things that all the negativity that he had to deal with at the end of November and the first couple of weeks of December, all vaporized, and now get a bask in the glow, and next thing you know, you're on the Tonight Show. So big win for Coach Day in all respect. The Buckeye basketball team with back-to-back wins now. How do we judge them? Adam Jardy will have the answer to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and 7 weeks ago I decided to make a change, and now I'm down 37 pounds. Only 7 weeks to drop what probably took 5 years to put on. What's more wild is how easy it was, all thanks to Awaken 180. I'm chasing Willie around like it's nothing, throwing him up in the air, running after the dog, all kinds of good things. Something that used to leave me gassed. And you know what? If you're overweight, I'm sure that you can relate. Late nights, early mornings, football playoffs, none of it feels like it's slowing me down anymore. And those cravings that always got in my way, gone. Poof. What I thought would be a struggle has become second nature. The other guys here at The Fan were right. Awaken 180 gives results. And more importantly, the fast results we need to keep on going. My coach, Natalie, is the health guru. She helps me adjust to fit my crazy schedule from what to eat to when to eat. No meds, no gimmicks. Just a plan straight up that works and can work for anyone. If you want control, take control with Awaken 180. It is the choice to make. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Breaking news. Ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.
A.J. Hawk won a national title, a Super Bowl, and a Lombardi Award, but his weekly appearance on Morning Juice Fridays at 8:33 is the real highlight of his career. If he tells you otherwise, he's lying.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
The Fan.
It's playoff time, and you can take full advantage by winning some cash playing daily fantasy football on Sleeper Picks. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. And now, Sleeper has a special offer. New users just have to play $5 to get $55 in free entries. Download the Sleeper app today and use code SCORE and get $55 in free entries when you play $5. That's code SCORE. Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. Minimum deposit $25. See terms of use for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-426-2537 for help.
Hear that? The soothing sounds of a bubble bath. And if you were here, you'd smell a single cedar leaf candle. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. So if you ride, get back on the road and enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. And then take a shower, because it's fast, like your motorcycle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage. Not available in all states.
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Cellar, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondcellar.com.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time to head out on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with a good buddy, Adam Jardy. Covers the Buckeyes at the expert level at the Dispatch, and he joins us there. Buddy, at the beginning of the year we chatted, and we've chatted a couple of times since, but at the beginning of the year we chatted, and I asked you, how do we judge this team? We said, well, playoff team, try to get to that second weekend of March. That was kind of what we were hoping for, make the tournament, that type of thing. All of those things are still in front of them. They played a very ambitious schedule. But it's been a hell of a road to get to this point of 2 straight wins. What do you make of this Buckeye team as you see it right now, and how sustainable is the last 2 games style of play going forward?
Yeah, I think what I see right now, and it will be tested having to go to Penn State on Thursday and go to Illinois on Sunday, but, you know, we've seen this Ohio State team at this point in the calendar, especially these last 2 years, fall apart. And this is where the season has tended to go sideways on them and the losses pile up. And when you talk about going through a stretch of 5 straight games decided by 1 possession, which has never happened before, they had 3 straight 1-possession losses. First time since 1931. That's the kind of stuff that we've seen recently has sunk Ohio State basketball seasons. And instead, what we're seeing now, I mean, this team went to Mackey last week and won a game. Hadn't won there since 2018, and won in crazy dramatic comeback fashion, where not only did they come back from a 16-point deficit and build a lead, but then Purdue put a run together, reclaimed the lead, and then Ohio State is the one that has the push at the end to win the game. And then they take a 6-day layoff, come home, and for the first time this calendar year, enjoy a game where they win comfortably. It's only 2 games, and things can flip in the Big Ten here in a big hurry, but I'm impressed with the fact that they came out of that stretch with 5 straight games so down to the wire, and now have a chance to get back to 500 in the league and are playing with some real purpose. And I think that if you're an Ohio State fan, I think you have to be encouraged that that's what the conversation we're having right now, and not are they ever going to get out of this. Yeah, because you think about what Jake Diebler's had thrown his way this season. It's about all you can take. You think about what this team was intended to be. I think if we would have talked, and we did, in October, you said, well, Bradshaw's going to be in the starting lineup. He's someone you can count on. Obviously, the 3-guard backcourt, and Michi's going to be a part of that. That's not there. How much of this has been just like figuring this out on the fly, and it feels like rotationally now they have it figured out? Yeah, that's been significant, and I don't know that I've even necessarily written about that quite enough, because so much of what this team was supposed to be, all we wrote in the summer was you have an all Big Ten guard in Bruce Thornton and an all SEC guard in Michi Johnson, who have been in a ton of games and know what it takes to win. And that's going to anchor so much as a young front court figures things out. That's going to enable John Mobley to kind of come along at his own pace and not thrust into the action too quickly. And that is not at all how this season has transpired. And what you've really seen here now, Ohio State has gotten, some really good stuff recently from Micah Parrish. I mean, he's had a pretty good season overall. He's really kind of kicked it into gear here the last couple of games. Yeah. But Ohio State's second and third leading scorers are Devin Royal stepping into a more consistent contributing role as a sophomore, and John Mobley as a freshman. And that's not really how we thought the season was going to go. Both those guys did not start the season opener. So they have had to figure this out on the fly a little bit and lean into some guys without a lot of experience. And there's been some bumps, and there's going to be more of them. But I do think the ability to sort of course correct in season has been impressive. Is there an answer on Michi? I mean, I assume at this point he's not coming back, but we haven't heard anything about him in 2 months, a month? Yeah, it's going on 2 months here. They've played as many games without him as they played with him. I think we'll probably get a final word sometime here soon. I think we all know what that's going to be. I mean, even if he came back tomorrow, we're talking, 2 to 3 weeks before he's physically able to play again. So we're talking end of February. I just don't see it at this point. And, I haven't gotten anything in the way of concrete info on what is definitively going on with him, but I have had people tell me, he hasn't wanted to talk about basketball. And whatever is affecting him off the court is affecting him at a pretty high level. So I know I've seen the speculation out there from people. I hear about it on Twitter. I don't know anything definitively on what he's going through, but I do know that like that is a thing. It's been something is affecting him to that degree.
Jeez, I mean, the heartbreak, and he's been radio silent. It's just been a crazy thing to kind of have over this as well. Mobley is somebody that you knew if you listened during the recruiting process, you knew that he had this type of game in him. But to be now someone who, boy, if he doesn't do similar to what, it doesn't always have to be 18 points, but he has to play mid-30s minutes. He's got to have assists. He's got to have the ball in his hands. And he's growing up big time. So that part of it, and then the Devin Royal part of it. He's one of my favorite high school players in Central Ohio in recent memory. And he opportunity presented, and he just jumped all over it.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch both of those guys kind of take that step and become those types of guys where it's like, okay, every night you're expected now to provide a certain level of production. And if you don't, this team's going to have problems. And we've seen that, like during this losing streak that they had and during some of these tough games, like those guys didn't necessarily have their most prolific games. And when they weren't scoring or producing, there wasn't quite that cushion behind them. The bench wasn't giving them a whole lot. But I even look at like last night, John Mobley was 2 of 10 from 3, which is surprising. And he had 8 assists, which was a season career high for him. And I think another sign of his growth, but his ability to guard on the ball, I think, has taken a step here these last couple of weeks. Ohio State's defense held, the 4th most prolific offense in the nation to one of its worst offensive performances of the season, and they hounded Iowa's guards, kept them out of transition a lot of times, and Mobley was instrumental in that. I thought I was really impressed with his ability to defend at a high level, and then also keep Bruce Thornton off the ball and let him get to some other spots. Like I thought. Just, anecdotally, that was maybe the least we've seen Bruce Thornton dribble a ball in 3 years, maybe. I mean, when you really think about it, I don't know how to quantify that. I don't, but between Mobley handling the ball and Quez Glover handling the ball at times, like Bruce wasn't dribbling the air out of the ball, and he was able to get in some different spots and hit some shots. He was big when they needed him to be. And they couldn't do that if John Mobley wasn't stepping up into a bigger role. So I thought that was another real sign of his growth.
All right, let's close this out the way we started it. They played a monster of a non-conference. There's no question. I mean, you talk about Kentucky, Auburn. That's going to hold up very well when it comes to strength of schedule and all of that. You look at the way too early bracketology and it's last 4 in, first 4 out, that type of stuff. Right now, under 500 in conference play, so that's not going to get it done. What standard do we judge them to now? Is this in your mind with a month to go? Is this a tournament team? Can they make that run over the next month?
Yeah, I think that is still very much on the table. I still think that's fair to be the standard that this team should get to. Like I think even if it's a first 4 game in Dayton, like I think that's getting back into March Madness and extending your season like that, playing on that stage. I think that is important for this program to continue to build to where it wants to be. And it is right there. I mean, I know they're very much on the bubble right now, and I think that's going to be the conversation for the next 6 weeks here until we get to Selection Sunday. But they don't have bad losses, even though they have 8 losses. As long as they don't lose to Washington at home, they don't really even have many opportunities for bad losses going forward. So if this team beats the teams that it should beat moving forward, they should be right around 500 in the Big Ten. They should have enough wins. They should be a team that is on the right side of the bubble come March. They just got to take care of the games that they should take care of.
That's where we're at. You can't even in year 1 for Jake Adam to just get to the tournament in any way. Just get an extra week. Just goodwill going forward. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully they can knock out a couple of wins here and keep this run going a little bit. You're the best, buddy, on this. Appreciate you.
Oh, thanks for the kind words. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is, the great Adam Jardy, covers the Buckeyes at the Dispatch, the best in the business, on the basketball beat, on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. In terms of the stretch of play that is coming, Penn State on Thursday and then Illinois, so a chance for another ranked win if they could pull that out on Sunday. That's the next 2. That's where they're at. They're in the mix. Now they just got to start stacking some wins here after winning 2 in a row, including that impressive one last week at Purdue. Coming up, second hour of the program, The Real Truth. Will Howard, will he have a better NFL career than a Buckeye great? Among the topics of conversation, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this Show, Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey guys, Anthony Rothman here for Low T Center. Keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. If you lack energy, muscle mass, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy may be your answer. But all guys have different T levels, so don't settle for a standard dosage plan. Get a personalized treatment plan at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Book your appointment at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
You hear that? That's the sound of the new Tim Hortons pairings calling your name. Whether rushing to the car or grabbing a quick bite on your way to work, Tim's has a breakfast deal designed for your busy life. Choose from a warm small cup of coffee with our savory omelet bites or creamy avocado toast for just $4. Or grab a hearty grilled breakfast wrap with coffee for just $5. A delicious pairing at your convenience to tackle the day. At participating U.S. restaurants, excludes grilled breakfast wrap with beef. Terms apply.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The basketball Buckeyes put a stop to a 3-game home losing streak. 18 points by Micah Parrish powered Ohio State to an 82-65 win over Iowa last night at the Shot. 4 or 5 OSU starters scored in double figures. Junie Mobley had 12 and dished out 8 assists. Ohio State improves to 4-5 in Big Ten play. They'll play at Penn State on Thursday. The Ohio State women's squad is off until Sunday. The 8th-ranked Buckeyes host Washington February 2nd at 5 p.m. Ohio State 19-1 overall, 8-1 in conference play. They'll head to Los Angeles versus number 1 UCLA and number 4 USC next week. In the NHL, Boone Jenner's back on the ice for the CBJ. He's been cleared to return to practice after his shoulder injuries kept him out since camp. Jackets are in Las Vegas to take on the Knights Thursday in Game 1 of a 4-game road trip. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. Uncle Dom stopping by in 30 minutes. Time right now to hit the real truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
You teased it. Will Howard will have a better career in the NFL than Justin Fields. Is that the real truth?
It's a great question out of me, if I do say so myself. All right, so in order to have this conversation, you first kind of have to see where Fields is. First of all, would either of you have had that he is only 25 years old?
No, he feels older.
Yeah, feels like he's been around a lot longer than that. He will turn 26 in March. So he'll be 26 next year, going into his 5th NFL season. An NFL season that right now has no home harbor. There's no home for him right now. We heard yesterday Art Rooney the second talking about how, hey, or maybe it was Dan Rooney the second, I forget which one's running them at the moment, that look, the operation is we want to bring back either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, but not both, and we want one of them to have a multi-year extension. All of the things that I heard out of Pittsburgh is that Arthur Smith was a little bit annoyed with Justin, and this comes back to what the common complaint you hear from NFL circles in regard to Fields, and that is that while he makes the spectacular play, there are layups that are designed in the offense that he misses, and it frustrates offensive staff and coordinators a great deal. Fields' best season as a pro was his second season in Chicago. Around 60% completions, 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 picks. Also ran for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Last year was actually pretty good in Pittsburgh statistically. Highest rating of his career, 93.3. 5-1 touchdown to interception, 1,100 yards. That's kind of what it's at. This is a very difficult question to answer. I'm going to say no, but with the caveat that if he gets drafted in the right place, and if, for example, a wide zone Stefanski, Kubiak, Shanahan offense, I think he can have a great deal of success. I think he's whip smart. I think he's got a strong enough arm. I think he's fearless. That's an offense where everything's supposed to look the same. You throw it, it's schemed open. I think if he lands in one of those, the answer to this is yes. But I think it would be silly because he's going to be probably late second, third, fourth round pick. He's the place he lands in is going to be so critical. And when you're a pick like that, you're not going to get all the reps if you're playing a team that has a starter or a first round pick as well. So the safe play would be to say it's not the real truth, but with the caveat that in the right spot, I think it could be.
This is one of the biggest misses I've ever had on a Buckeye player. I thought Justin Fields was going to go into the NFL and be an absolute day one star. I thought he had the athletic ability. I thought he had the arm talent. I thought he had the QB smarts as well, as far as leading guys open and throwing guys open. And it just has not worked out. And there's been multiple stops now, and there's not a lot there to make you think that it's going to work out for him. I have a lot of questions about Will's arm strength at the next level, so I feel like there might be limitations in a ceiling on him as well. I kind of have a feeling when I look at both of these guys, I feel like they're going to be 10, 12, 15-year solid backups. Maybe start for a year and keep a team afloat for a while, but I think their career paths are going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, I think a successful career for a lot of these guys that are going to be quarterbacks, or a lot of these guys available in this quarterback class, feel like solid backup for a decade. Like that to me feels like a successful career, because for Will and a lot of layups for him that he didn't make this season in college. If that transfers over, you get under the skin of a lot of offensive coordinators, much in the same way that Fields is now on his second team. Ohio State is the right choice for preseason number 1 in college football. Is that the real truth?
For me, no, because I'm not one of these to be the man, you got to beat the man. Every year is different, and this year's the way college football is now, you have incredible roster turnover year to year. Quite honestly, Penn State should probably be the number 1 team in the country. They got to the college football semifinal. They're bringing back both backs, the quarterback. They just added the highest priced defensive coordinator in the country. They were decent in the portal. They're not great at receiver, but they have everything else. Of the other teams that you would say would be in this mix would be Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. Those are new quarterbacks across the board. Arch, we've seen the most of, and he seems like a sure bet and a safe bet. But Texas lost a ton of players who were not necessarily having to go to the draft who did. So I want to see what their receiving core looks like for Arch next year. And I think for Ohio State, Sonny coming back, all the talent, you understand why they'd be number one. He just won the national title. But nobody's really seen Julian Sayin play football. Not really. We don't know what that looks like. Drew Aller's pretty good, and Penn State's roster's pretty good. To me, the Nittany Lions should be the team number one because there's just no carryover year to year or very little from one year to the next.
Yeah, Bo, you're absolutely right about Penn State, and I feel like that makes me feel gross, and I need to take a shower for saying that. But they should probably be the team that's number one right now. I know Ohio State every year is going to have one of the most talented rosters, but you're losing 8 starters on the defensive side of the ball and a quarterback who doesn't have a lot of game tape on film for you to see at the college football level. There's also questions about the running back position on the offensive side as well. You're replacing 2 starting tackles. That's a lot to overcome.
And we can all sleep well at night knowing that James Franklin's the coach at Penn State, so they won't fully take full advantage of all of this. So that'll what allows you to make these proclamations in January, because you know that when it comes to it, he will blow it.
More than 2 Buckeyes will be taken in the first round of April's NFL draft. Is that the real truth?
Who are the locks? Simmons?
Emeka?
I think if you look at most mock drafts, Simmons is the only one that's a guaranteed there every time. Emeka is getting pretty close to that, though.
Okay. I think more than 2, I'm going to say it's not the real truth. I think there will be 2. I think Emeka is going to get in. As I think he'll test really well, and I think he'll be a late first rounder. The only other one to watch is Jack. JT, Jack and JT are going to be right on the edge of late first, early second. But it does feel like the safe bet would to say it's not the real truth. 2 Buckeyes, and then a cavalcade of them will come in the second round. You could have 4 or 5 of them in the second round.
I think we're going to get 3. I think Josh Simmons is a lock. I think if Emeka's not a lock, he's really close. And I think once he gets in front of people at the combine or workouts, they're going to fall in love with his athletic ability. And I honestly think scouts may do the same with JTT. I think they may see him in the numbers that he puts up when they get and he gets in front of scouts. And I think people will fall in love with his measurables, and I think he will sneak in to the end of the first round.
Yeah, they got candidates for it for sure.
The basketball Buckeyes should have the football team at every home game this season. Is that the real truth?
This is the thing about, I'll take this to go in a kind of a different angle. This is the challenge for Jake Diebler going forward. And he's going to it's an uphill battle because this program has kind of been in a little bit of a slumber for a while now, almost a decade really. Of kind of being in a slumber. There's been some hits here or there. E.J. Liddell had a nice little run, and there were the Wesson boys were good. There was a couple of little blips, but in terms of consistently exciting the fan base, it's really been since Kraft, Deshaun Thomas's junior year. That's probably the last time that you're like, hey, let's go. There was some D'Angelo Russell was fun for a year to watch a transcendent player, but like to truly have people be excited. This is good. This is the battle Jake Diebler has to fight, is so that folks are excited to do that on their own merits. And if they can win some games in a row, people can't wait to jump on the bandwagon. But that's kind of where they are right now. So no, not the real truth. Shouldn't have to. Hopefully they get to a point where they create their own excitement, and that happens over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Wouldn't that be a great thing? Because they seem to perform really well when the football team is in attendance. Mm-hmm. They normally win those games.
The Blue Jackets.
Jake's looking over at Sonny, and he's going, I can get a jersey for you, bud.
Yeah, pound the glass.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys that would contribute. I mean, JT shorter bench makes it less. The Blue Jackets will stand pat at the NHL trading at deadline. That's March 7th. Is that the real truth?
No, and I don't necessarily. They're not going to sell anything of value. They're not going to give up any young stars, but Bake we talked about this last week. I mean, Boone Jenner's coming back. They've got guys who have been injured all year who are coming back. They just got a glut of talent, and so they're going to operate from a position of strength. I don't think they'll stand pat. I think they will make some trades. I don't think they're going to bring in – they're not going to do any rentals. I don't think that's the case at all, but they have a chance to get assets back for their assets, and I think they will.
Yeah, this is definitely not the real truth. They will do. They might be a team that sells and buys. Like they may not be able to come to a contract extension with Provorov, so they'll trade him for a first-round pick and whatever else they can get, and maybe they will add a defenseman to replace him in the not in the long term, but in the short term here to help them for a playoff push. Maybe Don Waddell has something big up his sleeve, and he goes big game hunting for someone that fits their roster, that's younger, that can grow with this team, and they can fit him into term. They've got a ton of cap space. So, yeah, this is not the real truth. This roster will shake up a little bit at the trade deadline.
And I think once we get to the offseason, that hopefully follows a playoff run or at least a playoff series, I think you're going to see a very fun summer for them, too. Go ahead, Reese.
It was Art Rooney, too, who made the Wilson Fields comments yesterday.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember. I know Art, Dan, and there's two of both of them, so I couldn't remember which one was which. All right, Will Howard. We started the segment, or the hour rather, with the conversation about Will Howard's pro potential. Some folks who ought to know weighed in on that. What type of circumstance would allow for Will Howard to have success in the NFL? And could it be straight up north in Cleveland? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Hey, Columbus, Brandon Beam here. I'm going to be at the new AT&T store at 1605 Georgesville Square Drive this Saturday from noon to 2 p.m. Bring your friends, bring your family, and let's have some fun. Again, at 1605 Georgesville Square Drive. See you out there.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Check out this fresh deal. USDA Choice Boneless Chuck Roasts or Stew Meat in the value pack are $6.99 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Through the magic of modern technology, I'm coming to you from inside your garbage disposal.
Hey, what are you doing down here?
I was telling folks about Who are you?
Garbage disposal monster. I eat the things people put in here. Nom 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 nom.
Oh?
Sometimes I get sick.
I was just about to say, the pros who knows from Apex are brilliant at fixing garbage disposals. You're really a monster?
Now, look here. These teeth, they're all busted.
Oh.
They're for food, not forks. You hear up there?
Gee, what else?
Crazy noises like clingety, 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 clingety. Call Apex Pros.
Sure.
Sometimes I smell funny.
I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Call Apex Pros.
And what's going on now there?
Smoking. It's a bad habit. We're not supposed to smoke.
Well, you heard it straight from the garbage disposal monster. Call the pros who knows. Apex Pros.
Hi, it's Alex, the Apex Bear. We are the pros who knows, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Nom, 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 nom.
Get your seat in the shop to watch Ohio State men's ice hockey this Thursday, January 30th and Friday, January 31st. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Michigan State. There are only a few more home series left, so don't miss the chance to see the Buckeyes at home. Buy your tickets at OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, plenty of sunshine. It does get windy this afternoon, so keep that in mind. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles per hour. Today's high will be 40. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 40. Our next big storm comes in Thursday night into Friday. Could be looking at an inch of rain. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination. The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Started the hour with the conversation about Will Howard potentially having a better NFL career than Justin Fields. I took the obvious cop-out, which it depends on the circumstances that he finds himself in and the circumstances that Justin Fields found himself in over the start of his career. What's next for Justin will be fascinating. What's next for Will? Pretty fascinating as well. One of the things that I've gotten a lot of since Ohio State won the national championship, and of course this is my wife's Northeast Ohio girl, so mostly her family, why don't the Browns just draft Will Howard? Wouldn't he fit perfectly into what they are trying to do up there and what they would want to do up there offensively? Yeah, he would. I think he has a lot of the skill sets that Kevin Stefanski would love to have in a quarterback. You don't take him at number 2 overall, but that is the type of circumstance where I do think he could thrive. Pat McAfee, you had a front row seat for all of what Will did in the postseason, quite literally a front row seat. This was last week on his show, did not understand the lack of respect that is out there for Will.
Because all you draft experts have left this guy out. I just want to know why. He's liked by his teammates. He's big. He shows up on the biggest stage. And he was on our show just cool. He's one of the lads.
Awesome, yeah.
He's one of the lads. I don't fully get it. Just a lack of respect at all for Will Howard. It doesn't make any sense because he's being treated as somebody that's like 5'11". He's being treated as somebody that's like 5'10". Maybe he doesn't have the physical stats to be able to keep up with all the stuff he's been able to do on the field, but he's huge. He's gigantic. He can run. This one doesn't make any sense. And I guess it's going to be because he's surrounded by talent, but when he was at Kansas State his final year, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He's Big 12 Player of the Year. And that's over Quinn Ewers. That's over everybody at Texas. That's whenever, Oklahoma's in the Big 12. Obviously, West Virginia was in the Big 12, so somehow he won Player of the Year over everybody that was with the Mountaineers. It's like, this guy's a good player. He's played a lot of ball. Seems to be cool.
All valid. Daniel Jeremiah does a pretty good job of breaking all of this stuff down. Now, Bake, where was the Jeremiah? Was he on McAfee or was this on his own? He was on McAfee?
Yeah, this was right after the clip that we just heard. Jeremiah came on.
All right, so here's Daniel Jeremiah. Let's start with the one with why he has Will where he has him now.
He went on an epic run, and I'm excited to get a chance to go through all the All-22 stuff in these playoff games because he played great, and I'm excited to get a chance to dig in on that. The games I'd watched earlier, I'll just tell you, I got my notes in front of me. It was Oregon, Penn State, Nebraska. The first Oregon game. So the first Oregon game made some nice throws. He had a couple that got away from him down the field. On the whole, I thought he played well. But then at the end of the game, how it ends, he takes off, kind of a little bit of a brain cramp and slides, and it goes zeros and they lose the game. Next game I watch is Penn State. Again, there's a lot of good to take from that in terms of throwing on balance, some up and down throws over linebackers under safeties. but the first play of the game predetermines pick 6. He's running in the end zone, fumbles out of the back of the end zone.
Okay.
Then I go to Nebraska. So I've just watched 3 games early in the process, and coach knows, you start with 3 or 4 of these games, and then you get a chance to circle back and watch some more as we go. And Nebraska was the last one. He had a sack fumble, and a ball took off on him for a pick in that game. So the size, he's 6'0", 3'7", so he's just at 6'4", 240 pounds, as you mentioned. He can move around. He can make all the different throws, and he got on an epic heater at the most important time. And I'm excited to dig into those, Pat. He's right on the borderline of a top 50 pick for me at this point in time. But I'm telling you that because I haven't had a chance to watch this playoff.
All right, here is where Jeremiah sees him having not seen the playoff. So this was on McAfee Show, Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network.
Like, I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, which is a 2nd or 3rd round. And then if he aces it, like teams meet with him and fall in love with him and everything, then sure, who knows how high he can go. I will say when I'm watching him, guys, real quick, and I'm watching, God, I mean, I can't take my eyes off 4. I can't take my eyes off Travion Henderson. That Penn State game, Travion Henderson on one of Will Howard's touchdown run, he puts the freaking corner from Penn State. He just puts his face in his chest and puts him on the ground. Like, that is a bad dude, man. And that's what I don't understand. I'm looking, like, some of this stuff has come out. I haven't seen everything, but just some of the buzz. And I'm like, where's Travion Henderson in the first round of these things? What am I missing on him?
He's a lot of people are missing that. We saw Kuiper's positional preview at running back, and he had Travion. Was he like 8 in his running back rankings?
Yeah, he was 9th.
9th, yeah. Quinshawn was in the top 5, but Travion was well down the list. I think all of these guys are going to have a chance to impress going forward. Back to the Will conversation. Will was on McAfee as well, and he talked about the process and the ability to try to prove people wrong. Let's have a listen.
In the process, man, I'm just looking forward to, getting after it. And I'm going out to train out in L.A. With my guys at XL Sports. And I'm just excited to get out there and hopefully, prove some people wrong throughout this process because, I felt like I've had that chip on my shoulder the whole time. I believe that I can be a, first-round draft pick. I believe that I can go in and lead a organization. And, I want to just show and show these teams that they can trust me and, bring me in and be that guy.
This is the thing that that scouts are going to have to decide on, Will. It's tricky. Was the player that you saw in the playoff, is that a talented kid who got on a heater, or is that who he is? That's it. Is what we saw in the playoff who he is? The thing that is always difficult, and I've heard this from scouts for 8 years on the Buckeye quarterbacks, is it's a very tough evaluation because of the incredible skill position talent that Ohio State has and because of the scheme that they run, which gets guys college football open a lot. And that part of it, you heard Jeremiah even on McAfee at the end of that comment about Will, where he said he's a day 2 pick. And he said, I can't take my eyes off 4. I can't take my eyes off 2. I can't take my eyes off 32, like all of those things. That's the thing. Sometimes the talent that you play with makes you a tough evaluation. And I was like you with Fields. I was like you with Haskins, to the point that I was gun shy in predicting what I thought CJ would be because been burnt a little bit by the 2 previous Buckeye quarterbacks. So they're a tough evaluation at that point. Will Howard is fighting to be QB3. Cam Ward's going 1. He's going to be the first quarterback off the board. Shedur's going to be the second quarterback off the board. The battle for QB3 is between Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard. Those are the guys that are in that mix. Jackson Dart could end up being in that mix. Maybe Dylan Gabriel. He's not going to have the measurables. But those are the guys that are going to have a chance to be QB3. Now, the good news for all of them is the circumstances that they're paratrooping into, there are about 8 teams that need quarterbacks. I mean, hell, the Browns might draft 2. They may take a guy at 2 overall, and they might take a 3rd. I would recommend that. Like, as many bites at the apple as you can get at the quarterback position. The hard thing for Will is, when I talked about the heater versus who you are, the other thing is this was kind of the only year that he had, like, quarterback finishing school. So is what we saw at the end what he is and what he will be in the NFL? That will be the challenge for him over the next month. I know this. He's going to crush every interview. I think he'll perform pretty well at the combine. I think measurables-wise, he'll do pretty well. I'm curious to see if he throws and stuff and what all that looks like, if he waits for pro day here. His attitude towards it will be interesting. When you go back to Jake Trotter when he was on with us, and he was the first one I heard kind of compare him to Baker in terms of moxie, Baker Mayfield did everything at the combine. Everything. Nothing to hide. Come watch. My hunch is Will might do the same.
I was just about to say, I could see him doing it all and really having an enjoyable process with the dumb questions that they ask, with those stupid tests, with the underwear Olympics. It's going to be really interesting because I see a lot of those guys that you're talking about, Howard, competing with as QB3 off the board coming Friday and being in the low 30s, high 40s of the NFL draft, and then that becoming a run on quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams that need quarterback don't feel like they're in that position to get a Shedeur or a Cam, but then once a Will Howard goes or a Jalen Milroe goes, and then it becomes just a waterfall effect.
I'm not sure Will can sneak into the first round, obviously, but I do think he could be a second rounder in this. I wonder how many scouts are going to hold it against Will that, his numbers weren't nearly as good at Kansas State, and his play wasn't nearly as good, obviously, because he talked about the coaching, how different it was. And I wonder how many of them will stick with their previous thoughts on him rather than see the improvements he made under Ryan and Chip.
I'm not so worried about that, Bake, but just from the standpoint of I think he's already scaled that mountain. I mean, he's being Daniel Jeremiah is saying day 2 pick, so that's second or third round. That's not where he was a year ago. So he's already gotten to the point where he's viewed differently. And my hunch is that you will see, I think he's got a chance. I really do. But I think he's smart enough, we're all smart enough to know that circumstances are more important than anything else. Jacob on social on the Blue Sky with would Pittsburgh be a good fit? Yeah. If Arthur Smith's going to be the coordinator in Pittsburgh, he would be a great fit. That's exactly what he likes. I mean, you think about Arthur Smith's best success was in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill and Will Howard are very, very similar. So that would be a potential fit there, not one that I want. I want Will to thrive, just not in Pittsburgh. I don't really need that. We'll do a little Tuesdays with Taberry in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Guys, it's D. Miller. It's a new year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. If you're lacking energy, muscle mass, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT plan. Look for a personalized treatment plan like you'll get at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Ready for the big game and stock up on home team favorites like buy 5, save $5 deals at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like assorted varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizza, 24 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products plus deposit where applicable, and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue or marinade sauce. Buy 5, save 5 this week at Meijer. That's the good life. A good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Taberry.
All right, time for a little Tuesdays with Uncle Dom on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. When you look back on the last couple of months, concluding with the celebration on Sunday, what are kind of images, moments that are crystallized for you?
The fact that the landscape's changed, that, in years past, if you would have lost to Michigan, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
But the way the landscape's changed, I think the resilience that this football team showed where they could have gone south. And, Bo, I think the thing that impresses me the most, this was the most difficult 4-game schedule any team has ever played in the United States and won in college football.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just absolutely phenomenal what they did against Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and then Notre Dame. I mean, that's unheard of. But that's where we're heading with this. And, we've been saying it all along. It's the dawn of pro football for college football. And I just think it's ironic that Ohio State won the first 4-team playoff. Now they win the first 12-team playoff. And I think the other thing is the redemption Ryan Day has that, I've known all along he was a great coach. He's a great person. He's a great family man. And, he had to deal with a lot of adversity. And, that goes with the job. When you coach at Ohio State, this is big boy football. And he's paid well. But, and I hear people say, well, he makes a lot of money. Well, I mean, some of the visceral stuff, that's just not acceptable. But, he weathered it. And I just felt really good for him on Sunday, seeing him, get the cheers and everything. And it was kind of fun watching him on Fallon last night.
Mm-hmm.
He's making that tour. But you and I both know that in Columbus, Ohio, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, that's the way it goes. I was thinking about this, and this is, it's a product of where we are in society now, Bud. But like in the old days, I mean, even our great friend Coop, with the struggles that he had against Michigan, the fans didn't have access to his brain via his phone. They didn't have access through his kids via their phones, right? Like you lose, and then you go back to your house, you get with your kids, you bunker in. Some idiot may say something to you at the grocery store, your wife, or something at the grocery store, but they didn't have access to you. Now, everyone has access to you because of these phones, and it's a very different level of invasion of privacy that Ryan Day had to deal with. That is something that, hell, even Urban, not that there's anything to complain about in terms of the results, but even Urban 10 years ago wouldn't have had to deal with this.
Right, and I think it's unfair, and I think it's easy to, for people to, do things over the phone and whatever. It's just, it's too easy, and it's just, I don't think there's a space. I mean, at the end of the day, sports is supposed to be entertainment, and it's supposed to be a relief. It should not cause you the agony that you do some of the crazy things we heard that happened. I'm just happy that he was resilient and was able to, do what we thought he could do. And, we'll debate for 100 years what happened in that game against Michigan. The bottom line is they didn't get it done, but then they did after that. And, the big prize is what we saw them doing Sunday with that trophy. And it's absolutely, Bo Hollywood could not have written a better script. And I wouldn't be surprised someday if someone doesn't make a movie about this, because it's just unheard of, especially those 4 games that they played against the kind of teams that they played. You're talking about, I mean, are there any bigger programs than Notre Dame, than Texas? I mean, Tennessee's right up there. And, Oregon on the West Coast with Phil Knight and everything they've done. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a tougher way to go, and they handled it every step of the way. And not only handled it, but they won by double digits.
You traveled with the Buckeyes last 2 times out and have had a front row seat for a lot of this. What is the best 5-star meal you had? Obviously, you have a lot of spa appointments that you get to, a lot of rub downs, hit the schwitz. What was your favorite just moment you took for you during this run?
Yeah, we didn't get many of them, but I got in one of those massage. We got in one of those massage chairs in the media room, and the one at the national title was much better than the one in Dallas. The one in Dallas crippled me. You lay in it, but it was. We in the dawn of modern television, it's 10 TV Plus, 97.1 The Fan. And, the bottom line is, and I'm going to brag a little bit, is that no one can cover the Buckeyes like we do between the Fan, 10 TV. I mean, it's just, it's a wonderful partnership. And we are, we cover it like nobody else can. The games are on the radio. Now the games are going to be on 10 TV. We host the coaches shows. And, it was fun. It was fun. And, I think the whole thing, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I'm getting older every year, but it was fun. 44 years I'm coming up on, and I'm really just kind of like taking it all in, because I know it's not going to last forever. But to see my third national championship and the way they did it. And all three, you think about all three that I got the privilege to cover. 2002, no one gave Tressel and the Buckeyes a chance against that powerful Miami team. You knew all about Miami.
Nope.
And there was no way Ohio State was going to win that game, and I thought they would. And I remember people telling me I was an idiot, didn't know what I was talking about. And then I remember in 2014, they lose to Virginia Tech early. And I said at that time, and you and I talked about it, that there was the greatest three games that I'd ever seen Ohio State play, when they beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game to get in. And then they beat Alabama in what I think was the national title game. And then they beat Oregon in the national title game. And that was up until this year. That 4-game run is not only the greatest in Ohio State history, but it's the greatest in all of college football. No one has ever done what Ohio State did. And, I hope the fans appreciate what happened there, because that doesn't happen. That kind of stuff doesn't happen.
It'll never happen again with that many seniors coming back, with the way the roster was built. No, I think that's 101. I do. I think it's and I said that a lot last week. That was one of my big points, was to really drink it up, because I think it's 101, the combination of veterans they had come back, what they did in the portal, which was, kind of identify a handful of guys that they liked. They were impact players. It wasn't 30 of them. It was a handful, but the ones they got were huge impact players. And you can't win it without them. But yeah, I think it's 101, buddy. I don't think you're going to see a team built that way. I think you're going to have year-to-year turnover on rosters until we get our handle on this thing from a rules standpoint. I think it's going to be a lot of transient football.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, and I'd like to be a fly on the wall in some of those meetings, because I think, they're going to totally revamp the seeding and everything. And so, you look at Oregon, they were punished for being the number one seed. Mm-hmm. Look at the path they had to go. Ohio State, I mean, everyone knew the two best teams in the playoff was Ohio State and Oregon, and they had a meeting in the second round. But I doubt that, we ever see those kind of matchups again. And I just think it's, when I sit and look back now, and I think about Ohio State starting at home with 7th-ranked Tennessee, and then going to the Rose Bowl and getting, top-ranked and undefeated Oregon. And then, oh, by the way, in the third round, you get to go to Texas and play a home game against third-ranked Texas. And then you finish with 5th-ranked Notre Dame. Is there a bigger program in the world than Notre Dame? I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, if you would have come up with that at the beginning of the season, they would have said, you're insane. This could never happen. And yet it did.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this one. We got kids running everywhere, practices every night, and the kids will be like, let's stop and grab some fast food or something. Like, no, I'll make something. So there's a couple of dishes that I always have in the house to make when people are hungry. What is your go-to? I know I've got this in the pantry. I can make this for somebody if they're hungry. What's your go-to?
And it's a favorite, chicken aioli, and it's the easiest dish to make. You get pasta, okay, cook it up till it's al dente. In a frying pan, throw olive oil in there with garlic. Get yourself a little bit of chicken, cook it up a little bit, and then throw in some sun-dried tomatoes. Throw in the pasta, toss it in the olive oil and garlic oil, and that's your meal. Top it with cheese. And I'll tell you what, they'll think you slaved all day in the kitchen. It takes 5 minutes to make it.
You and I did that at the Health and Fitness Expo. I was your sous chef.
Yes, we did. Yes, you did. You saw how easy it was.
I was your sous chef.
An idiot can make it.
It was good. It was very, very good. Yeah, you whipped it out.
I'm the king of idiots. I'm the king of idiots. If I can do it, anyone can.
That's what I coined Dami that years ago. You're Lord of the Idiots.
Oh, my God. I'm going to tell you one thing. All the travel and everything's caught up with me. I got a Bo Bishop voice now.
You do, yeah. You're ready to go, like you're sucking down Marlboro Reds.
Yeah, it sounds sexy, doesn't it?
It does. I like it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Good talking to you, buddy.
See you, brother. Bye-bye.
Right, there it is. Dom Taberry on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, Little Tuesdays with Taberry. Hit thing or not a thing. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. 82-65, Ohio State defeats Iowa. Was it the defense that was kind of the top of the list of what you liked once it was over?
Yeah, really impressive defense. And again, I felt like our crowd was great, especially there in the second half, and they helped us build the run. And we've – praise God, we had a couple extra days to get healthier heading into this game. I thought, we had 4 guys play 30 minutes, and we were able to do that, because of those couple days. So, I want to start there. But absolutely, Paul, our defense led the way tonight, and that's about as explosive as an offensive team as there is in the country. And, for us to be able to guard them, and listen, they got so many weapons. And for us to be able to guard them the way we did, I was really proud of how connected our guys were.
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
82-65, the final. Ohio State defeats Iowa. Jake, was this an example of guys taking that work from the last 2 days and putting it in play in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're growing. I think we've talked about that. We're continuing to grow and get better. After the Purdue game, we didn't sit and just show highlights of that game. We showed stretches of the game that certainly we did some things well, but things we needed to continue to work on. We took care of the ball better, especially really – I think we had 3 turnovers to start the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then I don't know, we had another turnover, the rest of the first half. And then, right, we were pretty good in the second half outside of the start and the finish. So I think that's an area we're continuing to get better. We want more assists, ball movement. We had 15 out of our 30 made field goals assisted. That's a step forward for us. So we got to continue to get better, but it is. We've practiced well. Guys are embracing, practice and the opportunity to get better. And I think you're seeing that now when the lights are on.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Breaking news, and this one is it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday edition. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Monday, Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports posted a photo with one Bill Belichick visiting with number one quarterback in the class of 2026, Jared Curtis from Nashville. He's a former Georgia commit. And behind them, on a television mounted on the mantle, the Paul Feinbaum Show. Thing or not a thing?
Oh, man. What a strange set of circumstances the last month or so has given us. The idea that Bill Belichick is coaching North Carolina and recruiting high school players, and the Dallas Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer to be their head coach. If I were to tell you that the opposite were true, that Brian Schottenheimer were the head coach at North Carolina and that Bill Belichick were coaching the Dallas Cowboys a year ago, you would have said, yeah, that checks out. At least some. I mean, you could have wrapped your head around it, a career NFL assistant going back to college, a la Pete Carroll, and trying to make things happen, acknowledging Pete Carroll was a head coach twice in the NFL before going to USC. But, man, it's the damnedest thing that he's doing this. It's also remarkable to me, like, how much because all of the reporting now suggests that he burnt so many bridges in the NFL that nobody else wanted to hire him because of just the way that he went about his business in New England. The idea he's unhireable is really hard for me to wrap my head around. But he was, and that's how he's at North Carolina. I don't imagine a scenario where he's landing this kid. I don't see that happening at all. So I think it's going to be a fascinating couple years for him in Chapel Hill.
It is still shocking to me that he ended up in college and ended up at North Carolina. It's shocking to me that with the Cowboys job coming open, the Raiders job coming open, Jacksonville with Shad Khan coming open, he's seen all those jobs seem like places that would have loved to have Bill Belichick. This may be a thing because I think Belichick's going to get some guys to come to North Carolina. I just don't know how much of a thing it is because I don't know how long Bill is going to be there.
This from Shams Charania of ESPN. So Jimmy Butler suspended indefinitely without pay after he left a Miami team shoot-around Monday morning. He was reportedly angered by learning he would not start for the Heat last night against the Magic. It's the third suspension for Butler this month. Trade deadline looms next Thursday, February 6th. This suspension is going to cost Jimmy Butler more than $2.6 million. Thing or not a thing?
Jimmy Butler career earnings. What are we looking at here? 140 146 million.
Close to 150 million, yeah.
150 million bucks in career. Oh, no. 312 in career earnings. 2.3 ain't going to bug him too much. It's the reality of that. His last contract was 4 years, 140. From 15 to 19, he played on a 5-year, $92 million deal. And then his entry contract was 4 years at $5 million. So, no, he's made a great deal of money over his time in the league. So the punishment of the $2.6 million in suspension fines are not going to bug him much at all. This is a staring contest between Pat Riley and a way of doing things with that organization and Jimmy Butler. I think Riley's been trying to wrap his head around things for a long time, and I've heard Dan Lebertard talk about this on his program, that the scar of how LeBron James left and that he left it all is still very visible and painful for Pat Riley, and ever since then he's been trying to get it back kind of on the rails. They've been really good the whole time. They've never really had a dip. Great coaching staff, all of those things. So they have all of this consistency, but they've gotten close to the mountaintop. They got to the finals in the bubble championship against the Lakers with this group, but have not been able to ever power through and haven't been able to add that other star. And so this is a staring contest between kind of the old way Riley wants to do things and what modern NBA is, which is I don't want to play, trade me. So it is a thing for sure. How it shakes out, my guess is Butler will eventually be traded.
Bo, you talked about this earlier when you were talking about the Buckeye basketball team. It sure seems like their roster is set and no one is coming back, meaning it sounds like Michi it kind of feels like Michi's played his last game for Ohio State. This sure feels like Jimmy Butler won't put on a Heat jersey ever again, yeah. Right? I mean, it seems like he doesn't want to play there, and they're like, we're perfectly fine sitting you. So, yeah, this feels like an ending thing here with his time in Miami.
After some speculation to the contrary, the Minnesota Twins are going to remain under the Major League Baseball media rights umbrella in the near future. The club was going to consider a return to FanDuel, similar to kind of what the Reds did. Instead, the Twins are going to stick with their original plan of having the league produce and distribute their games. Under the new partnership, Twins fans can purchase a monthly or annual subscription to stream the games on twins.tv free of blackouts. This, according to the Minnesota Star Tribune, the elimination of blackouts means the Twins are going to increase their reach by potentially 307%. with the addition of markets in North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. $19.99 a month or $99 a season. Thing or not a thing?
They're gonna find out how important they are to and how many diehard fans they have. Because there is sign up for this app fatigue for everybody. And you say to yourself, $20 a month to watch the Twins. Okay, great. Or $99 for the season. It's $100. I can do that. But will you? I think you better be pretty careful when, and this is something that the Blue Jays have had to deal with, the Reds, the Guardians, the Cavs. You got to be pretty careful when everybody can't see your games. And we've seen this in the NBA where they're like, hey, just get, like Phoenix. They were like, just give it over the air. Like, we just need folks to watch our games. And that's the challenge that a lot of these are in. They're trying to get revenue in a place where I don't know if there's the demand for it the way that they think. I know the Twins are very popular in that region especially. You're about ready to find out just how popular.
This is a thing to me because why do we still have blackouts? Like, aren't these teams getting enough money from TV contracts? And maybe it's different with the baseball because MLB gets all the money, but the teams themselves don't. But, man, this blackout list seems really far. Like, who in Iowa is clamoring for Minnesota Twins games? It's like, man, the Twins are on TV. I guess I'm not going to go to this game. It's so weird. It's just like Pittsburgh Pirates games being blacked out here in Columbus. Like, yeah. It makes no sense. What are these blackouts and these rules even doing?
There's and Reese can speak to this because he's had to do his Bad Boy streams. Like
I have not.
Allegedly,
hypothetically,
broken any laws here.
No one claimed you did. You just the way you handle your business there. The reality is these are so archaic. These are so archaic. These blackout rules and how big geographically they go. It's wild. It really is. And it's silly. And they're going to get to a point where we just need more people watching our stuff. That's really where they need to get to.
Bo, that was Buzzcut Reese, by the way. That wasn't this Reese. That was Buzzcut Reese.
Version of Eric Reeser has ever broken a law. Just want to throw that out there for anyone who might be listening that's interested in law enforcement.
I broke it several.
All right.
Haven't gotten caught.
You gotta put me on the spot here. I've always watched my games the most legal way. I follow all the laws.
That's right.
I'm just saying there are options out there if you feel like you want to be a bad boy. Speaking of bad boys, yesterday afternoon, Ellie De La Cruz made an announcement on Instagram. I'm excited to be on the cover of MLB The Show 25. You already know I'm going to beat everyone. Video Game's not announced the cover athlete yet, but posted a teaser video on its social media. Since 2006, MLB The Show has selected a baseball superstar as its cover athlete. Previous covers include David Ortiz, Ken Griffey Jr., Aaron Judge, and Shohei Ohtani. It's the first time a Reds player will be on the cover as a Cincinnati Red. Thing or not a thing?
I mean, it's a kind of a no-brainer thing. He's got to be on a short list of coolest baseball players on the planet, right? He wears 44. He plays shortstop. He runs like the wind. He's huge. Like, it's a short list. Very short list of guys who are on his level, I would say.
This is a thing because I think this further cements that Ellie De La Cruz will be in New York or L.A. in the not-too-distant future.
One of these days, we're going to have somebody come on and explain how the Dodgers are doing all of this with the deferrals, how they don't get into tax. It feels like it's a hell of a loophole that they're taking, because they get everybody. They get the best player from overseas, from whether it be from Japan, Korea. They get the best of those guys every year. They keep all their guys. Like, there's no end in sight to any of it. It's wild. And certainly not the Dodgers that I grew up rooting for as a kid. Far, far from that. We'll blitz the NFL, final hour, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TIGER to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text TIGER to 321-321. That's TIGER to 321-321.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and 7 weeks ago I decided to make a change, and now I'm down 37 pounds. Only 7 weeks to drop what probably took 5 years to put on. What's more wild is how easy it was, all thanks to Awaken 180. I'm chasing Willie around like it's nothing, throwing him up in the air, running after the dog, all kinds of good things. Something that used to leave me gassed. And you know what? If you're overweight, I'm sure that you can relate. Late nights, early mornings, football playoffs, none of it feels like it's slowing me down anymore. And those cravings that always got in my way, gone. Poof. What I thought would be a struggle has become second nature. The other guys here at The Fan were right. Awaken 180 gives results. And more importantly, the fast results we need to keep on going. My coach, Natalie, is the health guru. She helps me adjust to fit my crazy schedule, from what to eat to when to eat. No meds, no gimmicks. Just a plan straight up that works and can work for anyone. If you want control, take control with Awaken 180. It is the choice to make. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Your Columbus Blue Jackets are currently tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for the second wild card spot in the East. CBJ have 53 points and are preparing for a 4-game road trip that starts Thursday in Las Vegas. Over the weekend, Boone Jenner got the green light to return to hockey activities. The Jackets captains missed all 50 games after injuring his shoulder in camp. Jenner's out on the ice skating with the team this morning and is on a pace to return by the end of February, possibly as early as the Jackets' home game on the 22nd against the Chicago Blackhawks. Cole Sillinger's also back on the ice today for the CBJ. He's missed the last 3 games with an upper body injury. In college hoops, Ohio State beat Iowa 82-65 last night at the Shot. Buckeyes hold a 3-game home losing streak and improved to 4-5 in Big Ten play, 12-8 overall. They'll play at Penn State on Thursday. Hear more from Ohio State hoops today at noon on the Jake Diebler Show. And breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, we've reached it. First weekend without football. I know the Senior Bowl's going on, but no college game, no NFL game this weekend. The NFL on the off week before ramping up for Super Bowl week, the week that follows. We blitz the NFL at every week at this time. No time to stop now. Let's hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present NFL Blitz.
All right, boys. Championship weekend edition. I believe I had that, Bake. What did you have?
I believe I had, like most of us, that the Chiefs would win a thriller. The 3 previous games that those two had matched up had all been within 6 points, I believe it was, and there was no reason to think it would be any different. Of course, it came down to the wire there. Josh Allen making that throw to Dalton Kincaid, and he can't come up with it. Those two teams, when they match up, they are so equally talented that those games are always instant classics.
Reese?
47.5 was the over for both championship games. I had that. I didn't have in the way that they happened, but yeah, it seemed pretty easy that both teams would be offensive plentiful.
First time that the Chiefs had scored over 30 all season, and you knew that they would win, but to have it go that way was something that I certainly did not have. What I did have, and I think what all of us had, is greatness sometimes can be redundant. It can be angry. You can get angry at it. You can be fed up with it. You can be sick of it. You can be all of those things. But the reality is that as long as 15 is in Kansas City, as long as Andy Reid is pulling the strings, I don't pick against them. And it's worked out pretty well. In games that they have tried in this season, the Kansas City Chiefs are 17-1. Buffalo got them once. That's it. That's the list. All year long. Now, here's a little preview of their Super Bowl pick. I don't expect that to change. So I think they're going to get the 3rd straight, and I think that the greatness conversation will be one you're going to have around them. But since picking against them last year in Buffalo in the divisional round, I haven't picked against them at all, and it's worked quite well. I did not have that. What did you not have, Bake?
I did not have the Commanders getting blown out in the way they did. And maybe I should have. All of the stats with rookie quarterbacks and that seem to say that this would happen. But Jaden Daniels had spit in the wind on all of that until the wind picked up a little bit in the NFC Championship, and it just wasn't enough. I thought that game would be closer. I thought it would be within a touchdown. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, similarly, I didn't have the Eagles doing that to the Washington Commanders. I do think it speaks a lot more to Philadelphia and how well-oiled this machine is right now than anything that the Commanders did. You turn them over 4 times. I mean, that's not fluky. You're able to, with your home run hitter, Saquon Barkley, change the game in 2 touches for him. Mm-hmm. It'll be tough, and I'm very glad we don't have to pick the Super Bowl today. We still got, 10, 11 days to do so because I'm torn right now.
Sometimes styles make the fights, and in that NFC Championship game, the one thing Washington could not do was stop the run, and that's one thing that Philly does quite well. They had 7 rushing touchdowns in that game. 3 for Barkley, 3 for Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's incredible amount of production. Just big picture, I did not have Jaden Daniels that good that quick, and I don't know anybody that did. There was a sense that it was Caleb and then a gap. And he came in the right circumstance. And it's also an example of, I don't know if anybody realized how good Washington's pieces were around him. And I don't know that anybody gave enough attention to what the hiring of Cliff Kingsbury would do for him. And now they're able to keep those two together. Cliff's not going anywhere, so those two will be able to have an entire offseason and an entire season together. That's how you build success for a rookie quarterback. And I did not have Daniels being that good that quick. Player who impressed, Bake, who do you got?
To me, it's Saquon Barkley. I mean, he puts up 118 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. He only touched the ball 15 times carrying it. They didn't even use him hardly at all in the third quarter, and then they took the starters out midway through the fourth quarter. What he has done this year, I mean, it's stuff of MVP, and obviously he's up for the MVP award. I knew that the Giants were going to regret letting him go, but, man, he looks like a totally different player this year. He looks like the guy we saw at Penn State in the first couple years of his career. He has just been awesome for this Eagles team.
I was impressed with old guys. Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz. Now, Kelce only had 2 receptions for 19 yards. The 35-year-old's been really instrumental this season for the Chiefs to get to where they are. And for Zach Ertz, who's 34, he had almost 100 yards receiving, I think, in that NFC Championship game. So great job at least doing what you can against Father Time.
I go Kareem Hunt here. It's 2 seasons in a row where Kareem Hunt, nobody wanted him in the offseason. Nick Chubb goes down in Cleveland. He comes in, he runs hard. It feels like every 3rd and short, 4th and short, he picks up. Same thing here. He starts the season. Nobody wants him. Pacheco goes down. He goes to Kansas City. I think his long run of the year is like 12 yards. Like nothing. He doesn't have the home run hit that he used to have, but he can still run from 0 to 15 as fast and as violently as anybody. He had 67 yards. He scored a touchdown in this game. He was in the late part of the games. He did not get a Super Bowl the first time around in Kansas City because he had the off-field stuff. So this is his chance to get a ring, and I'm happy for him. Got to know him a little bit up in Cleveland. Good dude, happy for him. And he's still playing great and still running the way that he did with just complete reckless abandon. Player who disappointed, Bake.
And this may not be totally his fault because I'm not sure how healthy he is. They may have rushed him back. But Isaiah Pacheco, only 5 carries, 12 yards, 2 catches, 12 yards. He's been such an instrumental part of these last 2 Super Bowls for the Chiefs. I keep waiting for him to have his breakout moment, and maybe that's not going to happen because he's just not healthy enough. But, I was excited to see a little more from Isaiah Pacheco because he's been so good in the playoffs.
I'm disappointed, not in, but for Jaden Daniels, because I do think his team at moments let him down. You had the fumble by Eckler, the fumble by McNichols. I think was it either him or Brown on that kickoff. That interception late in the game was him just trying for a prayer, so I don't put that really on a guy who's, to Bo's point, was better than anybody thought he could be this season, and I thought played fine in an NFC Championship. His first as a rookie. Like, the lights weren't too bright for him. Just the rest of the team couldn't hold their own.
No, they couldn't. This isn't necessarily a player. It's more a constituency. I just feel so disappointed for the folks in Buffalo. I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean, we talk so much. We know tortured fan bases. We know them well. They were on the precipice for much of the late 80s, early 90s, never able to scale the top of the mountain. And here they are again, where every year they make the playoffs. Every year they make a run in the playoffs. And every year, 4 out of the last 5, they get bounced by Kansas City. They lost at their place. They lose in Kansas City. The other year they lost to Cincinnati. Like, they are knocking at the door of a championship, but the door is made like it's Fort Knox. Like, they just cannot get through. And it just sucks for that fan base because they're awesome. They love that team. It's such a unique market. It's a lot like Green Bay. It's not as small as Green Bay, but it's a lot like that. And I'm just sick for them. And I think we all were. Everyone was kind of rooting for him on Sunday. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Bake?
I don't think you could have said this at the end of last year, but to me, it's Nick Sirianni. And listen, I couldn't believe he was still slinging the ball like he was in that second half in the third quarter, but he kept his foot on the gas the whole time. He's just the 3rd head coach with multiple Super Bowl appearances in his first 4 years. Joe Gibbs, Mike Tomlin are the other 2. His 70.6% winning percentage, 5th all-time now in the NFL of coaches with at least 50 head coaching starts. You got to give Sirianni his props.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sirianni's the right call there. The Eagles started 10-1. I think won 1 game over their last 6 weeks last season. And you had you had odd drama with this team at several points this season. But here they are as just 2-point underdogs in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to go Spags here. He called a zone corner blitz. They're predominantly a man team.
Stones on him.
They're predominantly man. Usually they blitz at a man. On 4th and kind of the AFC Championship, what ended up being the AFC Championship, he ran a near corner zone blitz that got home and disrupted all of it. He's already won more Super Bowls than any defensive coordinator in history. He'll have a chance for his 5th Super Bowl championship with a win in a couple of weeks in the Super Bowl. Top 3 teams right now, Bake. Who do you got?
Kansas City, Philadelphia, and the Buffalo Bills.
Same.
I'm going to go Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. I just think all of the power is in the AFC, and Philly can prove me wrong in a couple of weeks if they beat Kansas City. I think the biggest missed opportunity of all this season was Baltimore's. I think that's the best team they've had there, maybe ever, including even those teams that they had with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. I just think there's nothing that team couldn't do the way they flipped it around defensively as the season went along. They had so many weapons. I think you're going to look back in Baltimore and go, man, how did we not win the Super Bowl that year? That's what it feels like to me. Super Bowl right now, well, it's set. What did you say the line is on it?
KC -2.
There's been a little movement, too, because they opened up at 1.5.
Okay, so a lot of Kansas City. I mean, I would take that if I were you on the soft earned. You have a little. Oh, you get Kansas City wins by a field goal? Yeah.
How about the over-under at 49.5?
Yeah, I think don't you feel like it feels like I'd take the over on that right now? To me, it feels like you're kind of a replay of the Buffalo game.
Yeah, that's how I see it, at least right now. Yeah. And again, fortunately, we have almost 2 weeks to think about it. I'm more interested right now in the lead up for Kendrick Lamar to the halftime show.
I wonder who's participating with him in that. Who are his buddies? Is that's like Dre and Snoop and all them, right? Isn't he hang with those guys?
Yeah,
that's his group?
Well, I mean, there's that connection.
Because he was in the California Love one.
Yep.
That Super Bowl halftime, which is an all-timer. I don't know if I know that many of his songs by name. I probably know a lot of them having heard them, but I probably don't know them by name.
Guys, 2 years ago, just for reference, the Super Bowl when these two matched up, Kansas City won 38-35, so that would be way over 49.5.
That'd be bigly, yeah. All right, lots of new faces in the NFL. Just one job remains out there. It is the Saints' job. Some surreal press conferences, including one in Dallas that was straight out of Landman, quite honestly. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO. What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO. Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Let's get it started.
Lindsay Honda starts this year off by giving you cash for your clunker. Up to $2,500 or $3,500 minimum for any trade. It's Lindsay Honda's Cash for Clunkers. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines, both $299 a month. That's $299 a month or clunker cash going on now.
The lot is full and the deals are on.
See lindsayhonda.com for program details.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
At Pella, we use the newest technology to show you exactly how new windows would look on your home.
Well, we keep it simple at our window place. We use a number 2 pencil to draw what your house will look like with our new windows. See?
Oh yeah, that definitely looks like a number 2.
Thank you, Leslie. Wait, I see what you did there.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Hey guys, Anthony Rothman here for Low T Center. Keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. If you lack energy, muscle mass, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy may be your answer. But all guys have different T levels, so don't settle for a standard dosage plan. Get a personalized treatment plan at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Book your appointment at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Here's a look at your weather report. Today, partly sunny, high 39. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 32. And on your Wednesday, looking at plenty of clouds with a high of 40. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Buckeye games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born and before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
About 12 minutes from now, you hear from Ross Bjork on the changes that potentially could be coming for the college football playoff. We'll do some NFL coaching news right now. The biggest shocker of all of this was Brian Schottenheimer going from offensive coordinator in Dallas to head coach in Dallas. Probably equally surprising that Mike McCarthy did not stick around. It felt like that was going to be the case. You're going to hear from Jerry in a second, but I did want to start. I'm going to read this quote. The first question in the press conference was a simple question of why Jerry Jones hired Brian Schottenheimer. And I'm going to read this quote for you. In the almost 35 years that I've been involved with the Dallas Cowboys, I've only missed one Senior Bowl. 35 years, and I think I missed one combine in 35 years. At the NFL over the last 4 or 5 years, we want to come in a day early so that we can visit with prospective coaches for the future of my team and any other teams. In 35 years, I don't think I ever visited with a coach, but what in my heart and mind, I wasn't having an interview. I don't think I've ever had a coach visit with me that wasn't prospectively thinking maybe someday our paths might cross. I've been around a lot of coaches. As a matter of fact, I want to be a coach. Except I wanted to live better than I thought coaches lived. That was his answer to, was he concerned that Brian Schottenheimer did not have any experience as a head coach. So he's great on Landman. This potentially was not that on Monday. Here is Jerry Jones on if he's concerned about Brian Schottenheimer having no head coaching experience.
Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take, No head coaching experience. Let me share something with you. With all of that, You've just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road, especially if there was an effort to make it that way, and there was an effort. But then you go around to the countless numbers of coaches that Jardy has served on staff with and been around, the countless players. How often do you have someone that has 25, I'm going to say 25, it may be 26, of years of working through the human relationship and aspiring to learn, have his ears and eyes wide open and looking for techniques and looking for things that make coaches better.
Like I said, he was great on land, man. I can't imagine being a Cowboys fan. And I know we have, isn't Bodie? He's a big Cowboys fan. Do I have that right? I think he is, yeah. I don't know how you spin it. I don't know. He has not won a Super Bowl since 1995. It's been a minute.
Do you think he was that desperate to not be the last team across the finish line with hiring a head coach?
I think there was a bite that Jason Garrett had maybe 10 days ago on what it's like being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that there is a specific type of coach that it takes to do that, and it's someone who has to be subservient bigly to Jerry. And you have to think what you're signing up for, guys. You are signing up to coach the most popular team in the NFL. You are signing up to coach under Jerry, who gives a press conference post-game every Sunday and then goes on local radio on a show he owns, I want to say Tuesday or Monday every week. So if you just think about, take the three teams we talk most about, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. The Haslams talk usually maybe once a year, like once at training camp and then once in the offseason, they'll talk. Mike Brown talks when he serves turtle soup at the beginning of the year. That's it, unless they make a coaching change. The Rooneys talk only at the end of the year is kind of how they do it. They talk once at the end of the year, and that's kind of it. Jerry talks every week, twice a week. So you have to want to coach under that yoke, and it's a significant one. So I think that's how you get who they've hired. Like, I don't know anybody who was like, oh my God, we got to hire Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett got fired by the Cowboys. He ended up coordinator for the Giants for a year, maybe, and then he ended up on television. So it wasn't like there was any clamoring for it. Mike McCarthy was passed over to a lot of places before he landed in Dallas. Cleveland could have hired him, didn't. And that was a very young, exciting Cleveland team that Kevin Stefanski took over. And Mike could have been that. He interviewed, and they didn't go that way. So nobody was interviewing Brian Schottenheimer to be the head coach of anything. None. So he's 51. He's never even been sniffed in terms of being a head coach, and now he's going to run the Cowboys. So I think all of the things that I just mentioned are why that's the case. I think it's a very specific person that has to take that job.
More Conspiracy Jones theories. Do you think this sets up for Jason Witten to come in mid-season and try to save this?
I'm off. I thought for sure it'd be Belichick there. I really did. I thought it would be Belichick. There was talk about Witten. Look, there's a lot of folks that are doing that. You saw Eddie George get some real interviews. He interviewed in Chicago for the job, like former players. And is that something you'd want to do? Yeah, I mean, I think it's all in play with them. I think the other thing about Brian Schottenheimer is when he talks about it being a big risk, it's not a risk at all. They're going to compensate him near the bottom of the barrel of head coaching. You can fire him pretty easily. My guess it'll be a short-term deal with Schottenheimer to be the head coach there. The only thing that'll keep him some job stability is Jerry having to admit he was wrong, which he's not crazy about doing. He kept Garrett for a long time past the born-on date. So that's something to watch there. The Jets introduced Aaron Glenn earlier this week. Probably the big headliner here was the comments about Aaron Rodgers. Here is Glenn on that.
Just a couple of things I want to nip in the bud. Listen, I came on Wednesday. Mooch came and got the job on Saturday. And we came here on Sunday, and we started talking. Here's what I do know. Aaron Rodgers will be talked about. It will be talked about. We've already texted that communication with Aaron Rodgers. And as we continue to look at the roster, we'll make decisions accordingly. And that's what a number of people, right, on the team.
You can talk like that. That's how Dan Campbell sounded. You can talk like that, but you better win. And that roster's not set up to win in any way. Yeah. That's a my way or the highway stuff, which I understand they probably need that there. Rodgers will be fascinating if he's even got anything left in the tank. I don't know that he does. I
wouldn't think Rodgers at this point in his career is ready for a Dan Campbell-esque type coach.
I think he would, so long as he has a coordinator who speaks a similar language to him. As long as that exists. Is there any place out there for him? Like, I don't even, can they cut him? Does he have a contract? If he wants to play somewhere else this season, can he? I thought it was a 3-year deal that he signed there. But maybe they can release him after this. In terms of teams who need quarterbacks that would be stylistically a fit, obviously Cleveland would be stylistically a fit. In the AFC South, there's nobody. Titans are picking first overall. They're not doing that. Vegas.
I was going to say maybe the Raiders.
With Pete Carroll. Maybe that would be.
They seem like they could have a couple things in common.
Yeah. Russell Wilson will be. Sounds like they want Wilson there, that Pete would want Russ to kind of come back to that operation. NFC South, look, they're all ready to move on, I would think. There's nothing there. There just aren't places for him to land.
Depending on who maybe the Saints hire as head coach?
Maybe, but they still have Derek Carr that they have to get out from under. I think that's a long-term deal that they have still there. Pete Carroll was officially announced in Las Vegas yesterday as well, and was quick to point out that Tom Brady's presence was a part of it. Here is Pete on that.
The Raiders captured me a long time ago. I'm just filled with gratitude to be part of this. There's so many elements that made this come together that are so special and so unique. But when Mark figured out how valuable it would be to put Tom Brady in this mix and bring that kind of football background and history, Mark made a great move. It's our job to celebrate that for Mark and to make sure that this comes to life the way it can.
I have no idea how Tom Brady's still on an NFL telecast. I don't know how the other owners are letting it happen. It's got to be done after the Super Bowl. There's just no way that he can keep doing it.
I wonder if it would be too murky. Because if he's not stepping down on his own volition, then you have to cut that. Would you have to cut that check?
No. I think the NFL owners say condition of being an owner is you can't do this. That's it. You can't have him around your stadiums and your players and your coaches. You can't. He already doesn't do the pregame interview stuff that all the rest of the guys do. He's not allowed in the facilities. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, he's taken a very active role with the Raiders. There's no way that he can be the voice of Fox on the NFL as well. Just can't be.
Did they have to approve his ownership stakes, though?
They did. They do have to. I assume it's happened because he's obviously representing them. So, last one. Liam Cohen had himself a bit of an awkward exchange yesterday with some of the stuff that he did in Jacksonville. Remember, he's the one who changed his mind. They ended up firing Trent Baalke. They ended up getting him in the mix. Here's Liam Cohen, who's the head coach in Jacksonville now, on why he changed his mind.
The opportunity to coach in Tampa was a phenomenal one, to get my feet wet in the NFL as the offensive coordinator, and I thank them so much for that opportunity. As you continue to do more research and gaining more information as you go, it started to become more clear with every hour that this was an opportunity that you just can't pass up for so many different reasons. Ultimately, want to do truly what's best for you and your family, and that's what this came down to. I will always love and remember those guys in Tampa. My players, those guys, love them to death, but this is an opportunity to also go and do it with some new guys, right? And to go reach and touch people, because that's what coaching and teaching is, and that's what this opportunity is all about, and extremely thankful for that. But head and eyes up, and we're moving forward.
He only coordinated in terms of calling plays one NFL team. He coordinated and called plays in Kentucky in 2023. He coordinated and called plays in Tampa Bay last year. Previous to that, he's an offensive coordinator with the Rams. McVay calls plays there. Then you got to go back to Maine. He's 39 and keys to the kingdom. I think it's the best overall job that was out there because I really still like Trevor Lawrence. But that dude's in charge of it now in Jacksonville. It'll be fascinating to see how it all goes because Lawrence has been through a lot early on in his career. We know the college football playoff is going to see some major changes. Your athletic director, Ross Bjork, weighed in on some of the changes that are needed. Plus, we have a date for the college football national championship game in 2027. I don't like it. Shocking to no one, I am sure. That's all in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution, because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. We have a date for the College Football National Championship game in 2027. There are two things that are interesting. I'll let you guys choose your own adventure. The fact that they're doing it in Las Vegas or the fact that the date is January 27th.
Oh, I love the date because they're not learning anything.
Folks, that would be yesterday. That would mean that unless the NFL expands to, which it could, very well is possible, unless the NFL expands to 8 teams in the playoff in each conference and adds a week to the regular season and gets to 18 weeks, which could be the case by 2027. It's certainly possible if they get to 18 weeks and they push everything back. If they don't, that means that the College Football National Championship game will be played the Monday after Conference Championship weekend in the NFL. Now, this is a sport that, while it is the second most popular sport in our fine country, it has dropped viewership exponentially in a decade. The Ohio State-Oregon National Championship game was a $34.5 million in terms of the amount of people who watched. The national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame was 22. That's a big recession in audience. All of us still care tremendously, but the crossover fans, they're losing a little bit. And I think they're losing it. My theory is they're losing it because of what they're trying to do in terms of competition with ESPN's, and not ESPN rather, but with the NFL. And I don't understand why they don't get away from it. And instead they've doubled down and said, well, we're going to play even later into this season. It makes no damn sense to me whatsoever. I have said many times, take week 1, play it week 0, play the Ohio State-Michigan weekend the weekend before Thanksgiving, take Thanksgiving weekend off, play Army-Navy that weekend. You want to give out the Heisman that weekend, fine. Then start the playoff December 1st, do the semifinals on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, crown a champion. I would do it the next Friday after, like 10 days Friday out. I think they should move to Friday and get away from Mondays entirely. I think there's just too much fatigue. Be the appetizer for the NFL. Don't try to be the dessert. It's too tough of a task. Too many people skip on dessert. And the fact, guys, that they just signed up for the 27th in 2027, that late is just stupefying to me. And by the way, also, any notion that student athlete matters, what are we doing? You can't transfer. You can't go in the portal in January 29th? How the hell could you even still get into a school and go to class? I mean, like, just throw that out. Like, that's not realistic at all.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
This all seems pretty crazy. And, Bo, these are all things that we saw coming, right? Because nobody was taking the lead on any of this. And trying to say, hey, this is what's best. This is what we need to do. This is what we have to look out for. Nobody tried to get out in front of any of this at all.
I love they've even released a teaser video for it, bringing the magic of the college football playoff national championship to the entertainment capital of the world. They've got dates and locations clear into 2030, and next year's is on January 19th, but every other date for every other championship game passes over January 20th.
It's so stupid. They're going to lose more and more audience. They will. Wolfman Matt, who's a great and loyal listener, you guys said college football selling their soul would be complete when they play in the title game literally 2 weeks ago. Yes, we did. When they played in Vegas in the title game, that's when they sold their soul. They've done it. That's it. It's been done. Yeah, there needs to be some people that with just a modicum of intellect in how to maximize, give a damn, television. That's what it's all about anyway. It's not about you, the fan, trying to go to games. They're never going to care about that. But the idea that you're going to continue to recede viewership by doing what they're doing is just stupefying to me, and continuing to try to fight this head-to-head battle with the NFL. It's just, you're going to lose that battle over and over and over again. In terms of other possible shakeup and changes to the college football playoff, athletic director Ross Bjork weighed in on that. Let's hear from him.
Well, I think we really need to reconcile the seeding versus ranking. I think that definitely has to be looked at. I think we created maybe some false matchups by falsely seeding teams versus how they were ranked. So I really think we need to look at that. I really think we need to look at the consistency of the format. When you go to the Rose Bowl, that format in terms of travel days, media days, exposure should be the same as when you go to the Cotton Bowl and when you go to the CFP championship game. Each one was kind of different. So I think the template for the quarterfinals through the semifinals through the championship game, I think we need some consistency. I think it's great to win the Rose Bowl. I think it's great to win the Cotton Bowl. But really, that doesn't mean anything unless you win the next one.
I love the last line. He's exactly right. So what he just talking about at the end there is how something we illuminated many times during this run, how these individual bowls were acting like they were still just standalone bowls. Like, you go to the Rose Bowl and they still want you to do all the Rose Bowl stuff. They want you to go to, like, the tourist stuff, and they want you to go have the steak down at the place in Beverly Hills, and they want 65 press conferences. And Ross is going, what are we doing? I mean, that's just common sense. That's all of the things that we observed. They did the same thing with the Cotton Bowl. You win the Cotton Bowl, it's like, hey, the Cotton Bowl championship. Okay, great. It's a national semifinal. What's next? Like, you're just a venue now. You're not a bowl anymore. That's done. And I know the Rose Bowl will never give it up, and I think they would pretend. I think they are George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it. I think that's what they are. They're going to keep saying, this is the Rose Bowl game, and it's all that matters. All the while, teams will be like, continues to be a quarterfinal here, bud. That's really what it is. And so I don't need 65 media availabilities. And they had them multiple at each spot. So the consistency there is a no-brainer.
Breaking news, Ross Bjork, a big fan of the Bishop and Friends, because, Bo, you have been saying exactly what he did this whole time. And he just stole basically everything you've said verbatim there with the seeding and these bowl games. It's pretty funny there. I think you should just pack your bags, move the family to Indy, and you can be the commissioner of all this.
I feel like I could do it in short order. Get this thing organized in a second. I think it'd win for everybody. I don't think it's that hard.
As czar of college football, though, would your first official act be to move the college football headquarters to not Indianapolis?
You know how I feel about Indiana.
Contingent on not having to ever be in that state would be the job.
Yeah. I think I would have to have something in my contract that the only way that I set foot in Indiana is if I do so, like, via Airwolf helicopter. Like, helicopter me in, private jet me in, and then get me out.
I have absolutely nothing I want to do in Indiana.
That's exactly how I feel.
Just
John Dillinger.
Bring it and the College Football Hall of Fame home back to Ohio.
Fine. You could also I love it here, but you could also convince me in a warmer location would be fine too. I hear Santa Fe's nice this time of year. I'm in. There's a lot of ways we can do this. But yeah, it's got to get sorted. Obviously, the seating's got to get sorted. You just rank them 1 through 12. Everybody knows it in a way that you go. Seems like it's simple stuff to fix. The other thing that that kind of came out yesterday, I saw Dispatch. The Dispatch had this, and other people kind of ran with it as well. There's a news release from Ohio State that the athletics department posted earnings reserve funds and anticipated future earnings projected to cover a $37 million shortfall in the athletic department. So the athletics revenue was $254 million. The athletics expenses was $292 million. That's all the way it's designed to be. Remember, these are nonprofit, so it's designed for it to break even is kind of the operation here. There were some things that they didn't expect. For example, 6 football games from 8, so that's part of it. They also had to play, upwards of $10 million in severance pay, including a bunch of money to Chris Holtmann, the former basketball coach, of course. The thing that jumped out to me, though, and this is important, I think, for folks to hear, because this was the number one thing that I took from this. Ohio State football revenue. $111 million was the revenue. The expenses for the football team was $78 million. Men's basketball's revenue was $24.7. The expenses were $22.9. So, if you're wanting to know what other team at Ohio State made money, the answer is none. None of them. Everything else is operating at a loss. And obviously, in some instances, tremendous loss, because the football team has a net of, 33 million is the net revenue on the football team. That means that all the rest of them not only make up the 33 million in extra that football, but also part of a deficit that gets them 37 million. You're telling me that the other sports make up a deficit? Do I have this math right? The deficit of $70 million on the other sports? If football's revenue is plus 33 and you're operating at a minus 37, 33 of it is the football side of it.
Yeah,
means the rest of those sports are operating in the red, which goes back to that conversation we say over and over again. And I've said this to Gene when he was here, it's not good business to have 38 sports. And they have continued to hammer home keeping all 36 sports is critical, that's what they want to do. Bjork even mentioned this. We have a big budget, $300 million athletic budget next year. I think the first time anybody's achieved that. But again, the structure, the pieces, the culture pieces have to be in place. Otherwise, things don't work. It's the way it's designed to be, but it's also gets kind of a window into how this model is pretty broken.
Bo, the one that always sticks out to me is the men's volleyball team. They make no money off of parking. There's no tickets. Anybody can walk right in. And the men's volleyball team has to fly to the West Coast all the time because a lot of volleyball teams are out on the West Coast. So the men's volleyball team from the rip is in the red. They're not making any money. And it just goes back to that conversation with Ross Bjork back in August, where some of these sports, they don't want to get rid of them, but they may have to become club teams or something, or non-scholarship teams, because you just can't pay everyone and do all of this.
Yeah, it becomes a very uncomfortable conversation that needs to be had, if it hasn't been already, of which ones, because it's bad business, and the numbers reflect that.
Yeah, the men's volleyball was only recently added as an OHSAA sport. Right? I believe I have that. I think just in the last year or two.
It may be a little longer than that, but it hasn't been around too long.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. There's stuff that it just. I mean, we're picking on them, but that you could go through 36 sports and go, is this necessary at the state institution in the state of Ohio? Does this make sense for who we are? And for the longest time, they wanted to be, and they still do want to be. But the previous leadership absolutely wanted to be Stanford in the athletic sports, in the non-revenue sports, and then they wanted to be Alabama in football. And that's an impossible needle to thread going forward. 3 things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Timmy secretly likes mayonnaise. I know he does.
I don't like mayonnaise. Give me that aioli. No, 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 no. That's mayonnaise, you freak.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, easycater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric. Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really good guitar solo.
Get your yard game ready with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Ego has nearly 200,000 5-star reviews from homeowners like you. Ego delivers the power of gas, but without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Best of all, Ego 56-volt arc lithium batteries are universal, so they fit all 90 tools. Power your yard. Power your tailgate. Power your life. Learn more at egopowerplus.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Nagy on sports with this on social. Boys volleyball, girls wrestling added 2 seasons ago officially by the OHSAA, 22-23 year. He says boys volleyball has been a varsity sport for years, going back to the 80s, but was run by the Coaches Association. I think that's how lacrosse was for the longest time, too. Lacrosse has been an OHSA sport for a while now, but I think, is that right, Bake, that in Ohio that's the way? There were certain sports that were just run, there was a Coaches Association that ran it?
Yeah, I believe so. And you got some sports now, kind of like hockey, that's been around for a while, but some schools still have club teams compared to varsity teams and others. So, yeah, it's I believe that's right, though. Like the coaches will run almost like a club version of it, and then the OHSAA jumps on board later.
I know it's the only way that you guys know, but the way high school sports are run in Ohio is absolute lunacy. It's lunacy. The first time somebody showed me like the Joe Idol rankings and went, "Oh yeah, like these points decide who the playoff teams are," I thought they were putting one over on me. Like, what do you mean? And the first time somebody explained to me, "Oh yeah, like these conferences are long standing. Some of these make sense enrollment wise, some of it don't." What? What are you talking about? Like every other state I've been in, the state I grew up in, Florida, Georgia, you are in a district and a division. So you're in a state classification, and then you're in a division, or a region that you're in, and then your district are the teams that you play. So, and it's all predicated on how close they are to you and the enrollment of kids playing the sport. This is the only one that I've been in of the 4 that I've covered high school sports in that's the way that's done here in Ohio. The only one. Wild that they do it this way. But it's all we know, all you guys know, and so it's just normal. But this is not how everybody else does it. Like coaches associations running sports and all this stuff, that's just not the way the other states all do it. They have one governing body that oversees all the sports. So it's wild. What do we have on the poll today, Reese?
Daily Fan Poll asks, how many points will the Blue Jackets accumulate on their 4-game road trip through Vegas, Utah, Dallas, and Buffalo?
60.
Well, that's 6+ would factor into that option. That's getting 13% of respondents. 42% of you think they're going to get 4 to 5 points. 39% say they're going to get 2 to 3 points. And 4% say they're getting 0 or 1 point there.
All right, there you go. Time for 3 things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me. I'm seeing a lot of talk out of Cleveland about Jalen Milroe to the Browns because of the connection with Tommy Reese. I would say don't look so hard at that. And that if Jalen Milroe is going to be drafted by the Browns, that will be something that will come on his own and not predicated on the fact that Tommy Reese was there as an offensive coordinator for Milroe. Furthermore, anything can happen. This isn't pay attention to the scores. He just does not at all seem like the type of quarterback that Kevin Stefanski would want, as they've now brought back Bill Musgrave to coach quarterbacks. They got Tommy Reese is going to be the offensive coordinator. That is an offensive staff that is building to the wide zone, Shanahan, Kubiak, wide zone run, play action game. That is not what Jalen Milroe is. I don't see that at all. At all.
Well, so I remember some scuttlebutt between Milroe and Reese from their time in Alabama. So that's what was weird for me.
Tommy was quick to praise Jalen and all of the stuff that he went through, and I'm in his presser, a ton of respect for him as a human. I don't see it. I wouldn't try to force that square peg round hole.
Yeah, this was from about what time did you guys throw this up here? Penn State football an hour ago. The Penn State roots run deep. We are ex-coach Jim Knowles.
We had like 3 channels on TV, and you got up Sunday morning and you watched the Penn State highlights, because I grew up in Philly. North Philly, the real Philly for you suburb guys. I mean, the one where you take the subway to school every day. Penn State was everything. It was everything. That's what we aspired. That's what we aspired to be. And I couldn't get there as a player, but through a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of really good players, and that allowed me to reach that point in my career where I could really pick wherever I wanted to be. And growing up as a kid, Penn State was everything, and this is where I want to be.
I have nothing but appreciation for the job Jim Knowles did. I wish him the best, except for on November 1st.
I think he's mostly truthful there, that he did have his pick, and he did want to go home. And I think everyone's kind of handling it pretty high class with the way they're going about the divorce. I think good job at everybody involved.
Jane Gaudreau, the mother of Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, had this post on Twitter. The caption of the picture, it says, "Go Birds, going to the Super Bowl for the boys, one more win." And then the picture is a picture of Matthew and Johnny in 13 and 21 jerseys, which were their number. They were Eagles jerseys. It looks like on the family deck. And on the picture it says, "I know 2 incredibly happy fans up in heaven." The Gaudreaus have obviously had an emotional year with all of the stuff, the Blue Jackets home opener, the game in Calgary, Philly games as well. And this Eagles going to the Super Bowl, it seems like will be in another emotional time for this family. I've picked the Chiefs to win. I want the Chiefs to make history and win 3 in a row. But if the Eagles win, I don't think I'll be so mad now.
No, that's great. Any sort of distraction you can have from that tragedy is welcome, I'm sure. Number 2 for me, this is a real conversation this morning. Bootsy had to take a game to school, so he asked if he could take the new Mega Monopoly game that we're playing over Christmas. No, you can't take that. You'll lose pieces. Can I take this? No. We're like, why don't you take Battleship? Why don't you take Uno? Something like that. So he goes, can I take the Dude Perfect game? And my wife's like, no. Can I take it, Mom? No. Walks out, leaves. 5 minutes later, comes back with it in a bag. can I take the Dude Perfect game? I said, what did your mom say about that? I've heard her address this 3 times already. He goes, she said no, but I wanted to ask again. Guess what game he took? Dude Perfect game.
I know they had a game.
He just wears her out.
What, like a board game? Like a Dude Perfect board game?
There's a Dude Perfect board game. That's what he took. The one that she said no. This is what we're
she
up
said
against.
no and
eventually he just wore her out.
Yeah.
That's his whole strategy.
NCAA March Madness on X at March Madness Men's Basketball has released a national championship tip-off time. The title tilt will go at 8:50 Eastern. And they have this tagline, 30 minutes earlier than the typical start time.
Did they learn anything from football? 7:45. 8 o'clock at the latest. Come on.
Dummies.
Around the football state championships, we talked a lot about Jake Struck, who was a running back receiver for the Olentangy Liberty team that won the Division I state championship. He is also a great hockey player as well. He has 301 points on his career now. He has broken all of the school's records for assists, goals, and total points. His 301 is also 8th all-time right now in Ohio high school history for ice hockey. He is going to Ohio State as a lacrosse player. He's won state championships in football, hockey, and lacrosse. Heck of an athlete, Jake Struck.
You don't say. Yeah, that class at Liberty is nuts. That boys class is crazy. Finally, number 3. So NBC played last night basketball, plays again tonight hoops, and they do this thing where like the moms put together like a dinner for him. All right, so school's out at a little after 3. His game's at 5:15. Their choice for food is spaghetti and meatballs. With 2 hours before the
carbo load.
I go. All I can think of is like Michael Scott sucking down fettuccine Alfredo while trying to run a marathon. Like that's the last thing that I would want 2 hours before playing a basketball game is to suck down a bunch of pasta and meatballs.
Real quick on that tip time, 8:50 Eastern, Monday, April 7th for the national championship for the men's side in San Antonio, Texas. If you did or did not feel a rumbling in southeastern Ohio today, the USGS confirmed a 2.2 magnitude earthquake 1 mile southeast of Reno, Ohio. The USGS says it probably wasn't deep enough. It probably wasn't shallow enough because it was like 3 miles below the Earth's crust. Reno, Ohio was a place I didn't know existed until today.
No, me either.
My third thing, don't go anywhere. The Jake Diebler Show comes up next. Deebs, I'm sure, will be happy. The Bucks on a 2-game winning streak.
That certainly helps. Now, let's keep it rolling, Deebs. Absolutely. That's coming up. Then Rothman and Ice to follow. We're back tomorrow, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
This Action Update is sponsored by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Updated college basketball national championship odds have Duke the slight favorite at plus 425, with Auburn right behind them at plus 450. Houston is 10-1, Iowa State 11-1, and the first Big Ten team is Michigan State at 25-1 to win it all. For your Logan Services Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LEARN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LEARN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LEARN.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Austin Ward here, and if you thought my Awaken 180 results were an anomaly, no. Beam has dropped 37 pounds in his first 7 weeks. The guy has tied my week 7 numbers. The point is, the results are consistent, the results are real.